A peekaboo!
Hello.
Well, that got cut off.
Oh, there's Kaida.
Yeah, she hanging out.
For some reason,
What
every time it
is
rolls
up?
across screen, I think of that ESPN. Ding-ding-ding, ding-ding-ding.
No, we actually need something like that, like like a pan flute. Like every time it like the Zelda flute whenever the D20 rolls across.
I'm not gonna lie.
can do
I've
that.
been looking into how to manipulate transitions and things along those lines. So I've been toying with more stream updates. So
We need something
we'll see what I
absolutely
can-
annoying, like
see what
a
I can come
slide
up with.
whistle or bongos.
And on that note, welcome back to Thrayne, our bi-weekly Tuesday
Slide
evening
whistle.
D&D campaign. We will pick up here in just a moment to discover where the players will go from here after some interesting events. But first, coming up this Saturday, we've got a couple of things going on for some of us. We have Breakfast and Dragons, run by our very own Bill Bug, who is looking at the stream over there. Nope, I had it right the first time. Anyway. With three of us out of the stream, myself, Jacob, and Derek, playing within, as well as a few other of our lovely Forever DMs. And then this Saturday evening on question mark, Jacob, you talk about it.
Yeah. So fun things to announce here, and we will put out some more information on this on Twitter, so it's a little easier to keep track of all of it because there are a few unknowns that we don't have ourselves just yet. However, this Saturday at 7 p.m. on Astral Tabletop's YouTube channel. We will put the links out later. We will be streaming. Gabriel and I will be streaming alongside of John Irons, who is another streamer and employee of Astral, for one of their Astral Allies one-shots as a part of Dungeon Con. It will be publicly available to anybody that has the link. We will make sure and get that information out as we get it. I'm still waiting on a little bit of all of that myself. However, we will actually be running the stream. So stream production and everything done by your Forever DMs right here to help them out with that. And yeah, it should be a good time. The title of the episode is Battle Boats. So we will have some high seas shenanigans going on. So I hope y'all join us with that. Keep posted on our Twitter for information on that as we get it.
I'm going to be playing a druid who doesn't know any form other than killer whale.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna take my first dive into sorcerer. I've never played a sorcerer before, but this sounds like a perfect opportunity for a storm sorcerer, and I'm pretty excited.
Is your druid going to be named Willimus?
I thought about it. And he's full of freedom.
Freedom!
Last but not least, next Tuesday we will have another episode of Shooting the Crit, hosted by our lovely Bill Bug, and with some assortment of combination of Forever DMs in the chat as well.
Yeah, no one's volunteered yet, so we're going to start the press gang soon.
And as a comment on that, if you check out our Twitter, there is a poll for our topic of that currently still posted. So check it out. You can put in votes on what you want to hear us talk about. And then once the poll is done, we will open up another thing for you all to give us questions.
I believe the poll is up until tomorrow morning, and then it will shut down, and we will be farming questions for the topic that wins. Right now, I think it's backstory is winning.
I do believe backstory is winning currently, so that'll be a natural transition from our last topic on creating interesting characters. So
yeah.
And on that note, I believe that winds up our announcements, and we're going to venture back in to our strange adventure in the Schemin' Wood. Our band of friends slowly gathered. Is that music coming through, gentlemen?
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, I hear it.
Just enough.
Wonderful. Our band of friends gathered in together in the Schemin' Woods come from all over, as you have filtered your way into each other's lives and ventured towards the Schemin Festival, this light festival that soars this aurora over this valley along the Schemin Bluffs, this cliff wall, making several friends along the way and running into some frenemies, some folks that Reese would very much like to stay far, far away from. Jacob, we seem to be missing some music on the stream.
I just upped the
Awesome.
sound channel for that, so hopefully that will start coming through.
Wonderful. Thank you for the heads up, Geek Unleashed. Appreciate you. So our party, our group of friends, made a decision to head north. With news of the warring states, the former Lostheran Empire, suddenly becoming invaded by a foreign force. These rumored giants. The entire delegation packed up and took off, leaving the festival in all sorts of chaos. And concerned for his homeland and concerned for their friend, the band of adventurers set off after one last duel over pheasant. Wonderful.
A visceral duel.
A duel most foul.
A duel.
Oh,
I'm still having
not quite.
nightmares. 2 weeks later, I'm still having nightmares of that. This is
Yeah.
awful.
Hot sweats.
So is that.
I went and bought a rotisserie chicken. Screw you guys.
You would.
You would.
Venturing out away from the city after saying your last goodbyes, a beautiful flower on the side of the road caught the eye of a few of you, and dismounting to inspect it and can generally enjoy this moment in nature.
Haven't we learned our lesson about plants yet? Come on.
The land around you seemed to come alive, to include a stone guardian, a rock and stone statue that began moving and coming alive. And we ended with the Kestralvix, this mysterious wolf with antlers that has been shadowing your group, charging through the brush with a figure on its back. A flash of light from their hand and the stone golem went back to sleep. And exhausted from their efforts, slumping down off the back of the Kestralvix, is your friend Vizyla. They are currently not seeming to be conscious. And
Selu drops at everything in their hand and like runs forward, like slides on knees down to them, ignoring the Kestralvix other than to make sure that it's not bolting like back towards anyone, but like checking on Vizyla immediately.
Navarro pushes past people in the way and also does the same thing. It's kind of like nuzzling her.
okay.
What is the Guardian doing, and what is the Kestralvix doing?
So as Navara starts moving forward towards Vizyla, the Kestralvix lets her. There is no intent towards violence or guarding in any way. This large creature, weighing several 100 pounds, just stands there and watches impassively.
Same size as Navarro, or is this thing wolf-sized? Just with antlers?
Almost as big as Navara.
Okay, so we're talking like dire wolf territory.
Very much so.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll walk up to her, or it, the
Okay.
Kestralvix, them,
The,
with Lux probably bounding up onto my shoulder.
the question of the stone statue,
Mhm.
It is still inert, unmoving.
Vizyla, are you okay?
Laying next to Vizyla is a small handheld crystal, like a quartz. Nothing fancy, but it very clearly fell out of their hand.
We should not stay here. Is it safe to move her?
If I could get like a medicine check of something of some sort of how she is, or just kind of a once over of some sort.
Absolutely.
I have a character sheet somewhere on one of these 3 screens. There it is. Okay. Oh, that's a good roll. 19 total.
With a 19, Vizyla appears unharmed and asleep.
I'm gonna scoop up the quartz. Just look at
I know
it.
you said quartz, but I heard corpse, and I was like, she's still alive, man.
She seems all right. She's just sleeping.
I will scoop up the corpse. I mean, the body. I mean, you know what I mean.
Thank you, Kai. As I kind of like right her up to lift her just enough for Kai to get a better grip on her. Sayla's not doing any heavy lifting.
As I kneel down and pick her up, the lights on my chest, the tattoo on my chest, like fades, and the glow from my eyes also fades. I'll turn off this aura I have on my character.
Sure.
So
Super cool.
Mist has kind of skirted the outside of the group, not paying much attention to Vizyla, but keeping his eyes on the Kestralvix, and kind of skirting to the edge of the group and having a clear line of sight on it. He is tentatively reaching his hand out towards it and then pulling it back, and then thinking about the times he spent with horses and not really wanting to touch it, and then suddenly a hand appears on the Kestralvix petting it that mirrors his own hand.
I love this.
That's good.
As your hand materializes and begins stroking the fur, the Kestralvix's eyes move to you.
Mirroring that same thing as my hand is doing with my own hand, I just kind of nod to it and very tentatively stare up at it.
And it
So,
it turns its head from you, but no reaction otherwise.
I'm gonna keep petting it with my mage hand.
combat is over, right?
Combat is over. Yes, sir.
So, Jubei just resheaths his sword and looks at everyone and sees that Vizyla is getting taken care of, and looks over at the Kestralvix and, the Dolph's here.
So, Gabe, you don't have to switch us maps, but can we say that we move out of this clearing area?
Certainly.
Can we move away from the murder statues?
Yeah, basically.
I will telepathically contact the Kestralvix and relay that information. We're just moving a bit away from the statue. We're not going to hurt her.
Are we going further down the road, or are we getting off the trail?
I think just down the road.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not sure I trust any more of the plants in the immediate area.
Now, we seem to get attacked a lot by vines and now masonry.
Selu is being silent now that Vizyla is for sure okay and picked up by Kai, but is staying close-ish to the Kestralvix, but predominantly just making certain they don't blink and do not take their eyes off of this thing.
Certainly.
Mist is inching his way closer to actively petting the Kestralvix instead of with hopes of eventually replacing the mage hand with his actual.
They lose like that dude in Oregon that finally found the Bigfoot. Doesn't want it going anywhere.
Do I get any kind of emotion read back from my telepathy?
Roll an insight check for me.
Okay.
You have never interfaced with a creature such as this.
Is a dirty.
What?
You saying that Lux isn't like this?
Correct.
Okay.
You said dirty 20?
Yes.
There is a very guarded, almost protective posture, but non-threatening.
Let's say you're gonna see some weird stuff, man.
I'd like to kind
I
of
would-
walk up to the Kestralvix and set Vizyla down in front of it, kind of, as like look, she's okay.
I will be the only one that doesn't approach the Dolph.
Sure. A few moments pass of uncertainty, and Mist, you do eventually replace said mage hand with your actual hand, and the Kestralvix doesn't move, does not shy away from you at all.
Best interaction Mist has ever had with an animal.
Seeing that, I would like to kind of reach a hand out and do like the familiarizing, like put the hand out, don't actually touch it, let it kind of like approach me, sniff me, that kind of thing.
It doesn't actually approach you. It just stands there.
Well, I mean, I'm very close to it. Like, I'm just like reaching my hand out, but like very like almost touching it, but not quite touching it.
Sure.
So, seeing all this like passive aggressive, like very slow moving communication, Lux is gonna bound down and sit in front of it, like defiantly, staring up at it. And then as soon as if it looks at them, it's gonna do a little like paw bap, like a playful like puppy playing with its mom.
Remind me, does Lux also have the antlers?
No.
Okay.
No,
No. Lux
Um,
is just a wolf. Or,
But,
Yeah.
but could she?
Fox.
Just with no box, right?
I
That'd be
I
adorable.
always
She's looking up at it, and then antlers.
a moment passes, Lux sitting there defiantly, and the Kestralvix just reaches a paw up and moves. And as it moves, Lux out of the way, it steps forward and puts its nuzzles its nose into Vizyla's hand, and Vizyla stirs.
Ooh. I back up, not wanting to crowd someone waking up.
Selu steps forward. Again, not crowding like right on top of her, but
As
steps closer as soon as they see that Vizyla is beginning to wake up.
with
Prince
that,
Eric over Ariel.
with that kind of stirring, rousing motion, Vizyla, eyes still closed, reaches up and just kind of grabs a hold of the Kestralvix and starts trying to pull themselves up. And the Kestralvix aids them in the process. And weakly standing before you and just now opening their eyes and looking at you is Vizyla. And again, for the physical description, longer hair, kind of tucked back behind the ear on one side and down over the face on the other. Kind of a dull, nondescript brown with a lighter streak in the front. Incredibly nondescript features. It's difficult to tell in their baggy clothing what their body really looks like. They are smaller of stature. Oh, words today.
Words.
Yeah.
Words and
they're
stuff.
smaller of stature as a kind of teenager vibe.
I just very bluntly, you passed out.
I'm sorry.
Do you need anything? A bit of water? Are you okay?
I need your help.
Well, first of all, thank you.
Well, you've already given yours to us. Clearly, what do you need?
This is... There's this, like, I want to talk, but I won't. Kind of start, stop on their face. We... And reaches up and scratches the Kestralvix again. We need... The forest is waking up. It is too early. I need your help putting it back to sleep. I know you have things to go for. I can show you through the wood. We can. You won't lose any time.
I do not understand the words you're using. Forest is waking up.
Usually when I wake up in the middle of the night, a little bit of warm milk. Just...
And they gesture at the stone statue just a bit back down the road. The guardians waking up.
What, these were made by who? What are they guarding?
The forest. The people.
Then
The...
why did they see us as a threat?
I don't know.
And then I look at the rest of the group, and I'm like, why did they see us as a threat, guys? Huh? That's
I
the
was just
look. That
curious.
is what my look conveys.
We're,
I wonder if it is because we got to kill people. That is what we were doing, yes? We were going to kill people, and then the thing attacked
Well, I
us,
didn't-
and now we're going to do
I
other
wasn't-
things?
I wasn't planning on killing anyone, but at the very least helping people.
I know you have things to do. We can... And she looks at the Kestralvix. Swiftmane and I can show you through the forest. You won't lose any time.
Swiftmane?
That is the name they gave.
Word.
What do you or Swiftmane, for that matter, understand of what's happening with the forest?
I feel like I should remember. I do not.
Well, perhaps, why is it a bad thing that the forest awakens? If they are here to guard the people, guard the forest, why?
Because the people are gone. I don't remember. It is... I've forgotten something.
That is fine. There are many things that I never even knew. What can we do for you?
Can I... Perhaps there'd be a way that we can help you remember, other than helping you through the forest?
Will you help me?
I do not know how we will help. Perhaps explain a little more.
There is a... And she looks at the Kestralvix. What did you call it? A nexus of guardians. I can enact a rite to keep them all asleep, but it will draw things from the wood and beyond. And it is spring, so I am weak.
Interesting.
Reese, I was only leaving town to go with you to help your people. If this does not make you not help your people, then I don't mind helping Vizyla. Especially
no.
if I get to hang out with Swiftman in case the first time I back in country.
I have no problem helping Vizyla.
And Vizyla presents as human, right? Like from what we can see.
Correct.
Okay.
So, question.
Answer.
When Vizyla mentions that they're having trouble remembering, does this seem like something that I could help with, or that is just things are coming back?
I would say I don't think you have enough information.
Gotcha. Figured.
How do you know so much about all of this? I am not traveled. I am the least traveled here, I imagine, but I can see that my friends are having just as much trouble following what you're saying.
I know. I'm sorry. It is. Hard to remember.
Reese is going to step forward. We will help you. No problem. We can understand how hard it is to gain a grasp on things.
Can I insight her?
Absolutely.
Yubei, the very non-magic little person in this group, steps forward. It sounds like they need to perform some ritual, and it's going to draw things from the woods, and we need to protect them.
I rolled a 21 on my insight.
Okay.
Wow.
What specifically are you trying to glean?
Vibe check.
What is their pin number?
Like, are you going vibe check here, or?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That you are able to tell the concern and the confusion on Vizyla's face seem to be genuine.
That's perfect.
Do you know where we need to be going to help you with this?
Yes. It is a day through the wood. Maybe more if there are any problems. But we will get around them. So.
Do you think this has anything to do with how the lights were touching the woods last night?
I think so.
I wondered. And all this time, Lux is probably doing the cat thing, where it's like rubbing up on the Kestralvix's like ankles, like doing the little serpentine. And then I'm like whistle. Well, I'd be happy to help.
How did you come by your relationship with this creature? Swiftmane, thought.
They are my friend. They have always been with me.
You cannot remember for how long.
No.
Do they seem young? Like you said, they present like a young teen.
He said he was like a teen, yeah.
Skeptical.
Yeah.
Face.
Or at least Patrick is.
Yeah, same.
Reese is like, yeah, let's do this. Well, by all means, lead the way. We have horses if that would speed things up.
So I kind of turned to the rest of the group. So we are helping.
If they know the way, I am More than happy to.
We've already waited a bit before heading north, so I don't see any problem with it.
You won't lose any time. We will take you through the wood to the north.
I think if anyone can escort us safely through the wood, it would be them.
We have had quite a bit of a trouble with plants lately.
I saw.
I'm not sure what you mean, but they've been waking up a lot for us.
For sure.
They, yes. This forest is alive. It, is more alive now than it should be. Thank you. This way. And they kind of weakly, but assuredly mount the back of the Kestralvix.
Selu kind of gives a leg up.
As you step forward to offer that help, they're already on the Kestralvix. They are moving weakly, but assuredly. As if they've done this 1,000 times.
What before we go, what did you do to the guardian you called it? What did you do to him?
Oh,
And I hand the stone. You dropped this.
I wasn't stealing this.
they reach forward both hands almost reverently and look at you. First direct eye contact they've made with anyone. And then immediately looks away. Thank you.
Can I get a vibe check on that eye contact?
You can certainly try.
Okay. I feel like that's worth a try. I'm gonna actually... Yeah, I'm gonna use my inspiration.
Oh,
Natural 20.
Vibe check.
Ooh.
Oh,
23.
natural 20, you said?
It is a natural 20.
The
first one was a 2.
concern for retrieving the crystal and the genuine gratitude for you handing it to them overpowered their crippling social anxiety for that long.
Kindred spirit. Okay.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Do you need to get your horses?
Aye. Yes, of course.
And taking
I will
just
run.
it is easy to round the horses up and mist as you take the reins of your horse and it starts tap dancing a little bit. The Vizyla and Swiftmane come up alongside it, walking up to it. If this is its head, walking up to it this way. And Vizyla reaches a hand up and traces it along the horse's neck, and the horse stops shying away from you.
Aw. Mist is just awestruck.
They passed on the other side of the horse from you, but Selu and Reese make a perception check for me.
Ooh, not bad.
Not a super
17.
great roll.
Sorry, 19.
13.
Okay. Reese, you notice trailing past their fingers is just the faintest glow.
Mm-hmm.
And it fades immediately down the horse's neck.
Sorcery.
Sorcery. Gabe, can you give me any? Can I pick up anything from Navarra as to her disposition towards either the Kestralvix or? I mean, obviously I know her disposition towards Vizyla, but can I tell that have they met before? Is she shying away? Is she doesn't really care?
So with your unique relationship with Navarra,
Yeah.
and that connection. Taking a moment and pondering on it and kind of focusing for a little bit. You close your eyes, and for just the faintest of seconds, you see a sea of stars. And almost like clouds moving through the sky. And they take the shapes of these two creatures. And you open your eyes, and Navarra is looking right at you.
You've been holding out on me.
There's a stamp.
Yes, I thought so.
But gathering your horses and mounting your horse for the first time, Mistlethar, Vizyla begins to lead you through the woods. And they are quiet. Every now and then glancing over their shoulder, almost as if assuming you won't be there. And as you move through the wood, the clearing and the well-trodden path fade and give way to wild brush.
Joy.
Do be on the lookout for very pretty yellow flowers. They are not nice.
If Vizyla's leading us, I'll stick to the back of the group.
Okay. Vizyla is not intentionally seeking out any connection or communication. Is anyone going to do anything in particular, keep an eye out for anything in particular for these few hours you will be traveling?
Selu takes their horse towards the front, not quite all the way up with Vizyla and Swiftmane, staying behind them, but the front of the group, almost in parallel with them. And after giving a while of travel, after the bombarding of questions that Vizyla got previously, as we get further into the forest, what do you know what is causing the forest to awaken? And as I state this, a brush of wind passes through and kind of carries my voice over as I cast Speak with Animals in the process as well.
Awesome.
Nice.
One of the Swiftmane's ears cock towards you, but doesn't take their eyes off of the horizon around you. And as Vizyla takes just a moment and reaches a hand up and pats Swiftmane's neck, turns generally in your direction, but not looking directly at you. It has been happening for years. Since the skies fell.
Hmm.
So, this isn't the first time then? Or
No.
it's been slowly happening?
Reese's ears perk up.
Do we know do we know what she's talking about when she says when the skies fell?
So in the setting, 12 years ago,
Derek remembers this. I'm just like, we all know what she's talking about?
yes. So the
Okay.
starfalls are common knowledge.
Okay.
The first starfall that sundered the world, basically, and society had to start over and rebuild, and magic vacated the premises, as far as most people are aware. And rumors of myth and magic were like, it was just dismissed as hearsay or child stories. And in the second starfall, stories of magic have become far more prevalent.
And that second one was 12 years, is that what you said, 12 years ago?
Correct.
Okay.
And that was what sundered the Empire of Losthren, which is where Reese is from, and obliterated the capital and the surrounding lands, and it turned it into what it is now. Since the skies fell, it usually happens in the fall. I'm stronger then.
So, almost every year then? It's that common? Or sporadically?
It wasn't at first. It was happened then, and then 3 years later, and 2 years later. Then it was every 2 years, and then every year. And now it has been since last fall.
As we're prowling along, I'm on the back of this horse. I'm gonna look up and see if I see any apple trees.
Sure, make a perception check for me.
No. Yay, skills. 22.
Nice. It takes a little while. As you've gotten further away from the beaten path, those warmer pockets of Earth are becoming less and less. There appears to be less of that heat activity underground the further away from the trodden path you go. But you do eventually find a tree bearing fruit.
I'll prod up with the horse as they're having this conversation and take my walking stick and
Sure.
cut down a few. Be my horse one. What is the if the forest is trying to wake, why put it back to sleep? It wants to be awake apparently.
Yes, this is what I asked earlier. Why is this a bad thing?
I worry for the people in it. The Guardians don't know them.
How many guardians are there?
Hundreds that I've found.
Reese gulps.
And these guardians, they protect the forest, right?
They did.
Do you say maybe there's something in the forest that they need to be protecting it from?
Some years ago, there was a gnome and his daughter in the woods, and the Guardians woke up. Sandy barely made it home. It is not the first time that people have been hurt by the Guardians. I don't remember why. And they kind of furrow their brow in frustration. Kind of scratch the side of their head, but very intentionally letting their hair fall in front of their face so they don't have to look at you.
Perhaps the forest and these guardians have forgotten as well. Maybe they don't know what they're protecting.
I wish I could remember.
Judging by our encounter with them, they are aggressive.
Very.
And we are, well, I like to think that we are folks who can handle things like this, but not everyone traveling through here will be like us. So perhaps we let them sleep.
I think that is right. That is why I try to keep them asleep.
Player Sean has so many questions that he wants to ask, but Mist is thoroughly distracted by the fact that he is comfortably on a horse for about the first 30 minutes of this, and then afterwards, feeling comfortable on a horse and traveling, begins fidgeting with the puzzle box and just not paying attention to anything.
Have you done an investigation check on the riddle box yet today?
Not for this day.
Okay.
Did you not when we were on our way out of town initially?
I think you did.
The
pheasant duel.
last time I did one, I thought was.
I could be
It was the day
wrong.
before.
It could have been the day before.
I don't recall. I didn't think it was this day. If so, that's fine. Mist would still be fidgeting with other things.
Sure. You do have a second riddle box.
He could
Okay.
he could fidget with it. Doesn't necessarily mean he's trying to solve it. Shaking it, biting it.
Figuring out what's rattling around on the inside. It's gonna be like a dead bug or something.
Is it Legos?
Passing through the woods with this conversation kind of off and on, eventually Vizyla holds up a hand. And Swiftmane comes to a stop. And they point. And in the distance... You know what? Go ahead and make a perception check for me to see if you spot it.
What, all of us?
Yeah, anybody who's gonna look where Vizyla's pointing.
Ooh. 21.
Yubei has shoes.
Okay. So, Kai, looking up on the hill ahead of you, you can just faintly make out the shape of a large reptilian creature. A familiar sight to what you encountered on the way in. The Drakekin Stalker.
How close?
We are several hundred feet away at this point, but you can just see it.
I'll just like, well, I'm behind the group. I'll just shout up the line. Tread carefully. There's a Drakekin nearby.
Mist attention is suddenly taken away from the king.
No longer give a shit about the horse.
Wait here. And without any prompting, no heels in the side or anything, Swiftmane starts forward at a trot towards where the Drakekin is. and just ever so slightly off track.
I give you guys the look of, is this the best idea to let her go up there? But I don't follow.
And after they close about half the distance, Vizyla hops off and walks another 20, 30 feet. And then it is difficult to tell at this distance, but they make a crying sound, as if an animal would cry in the distance. I knew my noise cancellation would kill it.
Yeah.
This sound in the distance, like a high-pitched cry. Not in pain, just a sound an animal would make. And the Drakekin stops and looks. And then goes the other way. A few moments pass and Vizyla and Swiftmane rejoin the group.
Can I take that feat?
Animal
I'd say, I make a mental note of that noise.
I think we are too close to their territory. We should make our way around and camp for the night.
I think you and Swiftmane know best of the area. We follow your lead.
Seems a shame to miss the opportunity to take another pearl, but if we not.
Reese is like, I'd rather not.
No need to pick a fight, just for a pearl.
If we find one who has passed away, I am happy to help you. But
Heyo.
I will not interfere in their cycle.
I agree.
Just got one pearl now. Every Drakekin is fair game. He's got the taste of blood.
If they attack
Let
us,
'em-
that is different, but needlessly hunting for sake of a pearl, no.
We won't seek a trophy here. And there's a sureness about Vizyla in this conversation that has been lacking thus far. Like, no, we will not do this kind of sureness.
Oh, Salu's right there with him.
Vizyla and Swiftmane lead you off a different track through the woods, and you realize you're on a game trail. And a little further down the way, a tumbled-in cabin. Just mostly frame and half a roof that's been tumbled in, but enough to provide a bit of a shelter from the elements. And a fire pit sitting outside. We can stop here. It'll be fine.
If you say so.
And Vizyla goes out setting up a fire.
I will pull out the giant cast iron pot and hand it to Jubei.
Sayla will gather up some
I
wood.
thought we agreed it was a skillet.
Okay, this skillet.
Sayla will gather up some wood for the fire to help Vizyla.
And after a few silent moments, the fire is roaring.
Will this draw them to us?
Coming in?
Will this draw them to us?
No,
Good.
they won't come here.
This is sitting there, oiling and kind of going over the details of this crossbow that he's never used before, but he finally has ammo for it. Prepping it for whatever gets drawn to them during this ritual tomorrow.
Sure. Do you need anything? She looks at Jubei.
No, I do not believe. I believe we are provisioned enough. But thank you.
You look like you know how to use that.
Now look at the sword, now look at the pan. Both.
Okay. Yeah. She starts wandering around, occasionally stops and picks up a rock and puts it in a satchel, or finds a mushroom under a log and smells it, sticks it in her little satchel, and goes about aimlessly wandering around the campsite.
Reese is gonna find like a little shady spot to sit down and bundle up since we're heading north, and he's probably going to pull out his tarot deck
Sure.
and just draw a single card.
Okay.
A very concerned look on his face. Oh wait. The card is the companion.
Okay.
How appropriate.
Last session was the ally.
Step in the wrong direction.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, everything is everybody's getting to camp together. And Jubei's not really paying attention to anything. He's lays his sword to the side. He builds he starts taking the rope and twine, starts building a spit to go over the fire. And he works out one of the pork bellies from the barrel and slices it nice and open in the center, and he starts stacking whatever vegetables we had within the supplies, carrots, some potatoes, maybe a couple of the wild onions we gathered along the side, and I start tying off ribbons with some twine that we have and work it onto the spit, start rotating it. As that's going on, he's going to start dicing apples really thin and start like making a roux with butter and sugar and throwing the apples in and with some cinnamon. And as it's building up with the juices of the apples, he's going to start ladling it onto the pork belly as it's cooking. And as it gets all done, he's going to start slicing it thinly and layering it out and laying the candied fried apples on top of each piece of the pork belly.
I'm hungry now.
Right?
I'm really glad that I shoved food in my face right before we started the
Right?
stream because,
Yep, already ate.
good lord.
I mean, I already ate too, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to eat again.
No. Yeah.
Jubei, as you're in this kind of almost meditative state, just kind of in your element.
I haven't gotten to cook the whole time we were in Schema, so.
I know. You look across the fire, and standing there is Swiftmane, the Kestralvix, and is just intently watching the pork belly.
Well, I look at the Dolph and it's okay. The pig died of happiness. It's well fed. Had a wonderful life.
And
Don't stab me with your horns.
as you look up, you see just the faintest bit of drool coming out of Swiftmane's snout.
I like take a thin rock and clean it off and like slide like one of the pork belly pieces on top with some of the I don't know. Will candied apples make Dolph stick? I don't know. We'll see. And hand it over.
As soon as this happens, Lux runs up, sits down, and the little tail is going really fast.
And Swiftmane eyeballs Lux, and you think there might be an issue here for just a second. And Swiftmane picks up the meal provided and just kind of happily trots off.
Lux just watches and then looks back at Jubei and like the tail wags faster.
Lux is the most adorable thing ever.
Lux is made of
I love
adults.
I love her.
Swiftmane kind of trots past Vizyla, holding this bounty in its mouth, and for the first time, you hear a laugh. He always gets you.
Once dinner's prepared, Jubei will take his sword and excuse himself from the fire and step off, especially, with Vizyla here and everything, step off a good ways away from the camp by himself to get silence, to kneel and meditate.
Sure.
Ambush.
Vizyla rejoins
Bring it.
the group at the fire. Thank you for helping.
We have done nothing but follow you yet, but you're welcome.
Sandy said you would help.
She was right. She'd mentioned how odd the lights touching the forest were. Have you ever seen that happen before?
Maybe? I don't remember. It feels familiar, but I don't remember.
It's all right. Perhaps something of the ritual or where we're going will help you remember. But if not, perhaps in time.
There is, it is a cave not too far from here, where, there was once a shrine, and we should be there by tomorrow night. It is at a focal point.
I think Sandy called it a nexus.
That works.
Then we've been to one before.
Like the waterfall?
Yes.
Sort of. The waterfall, the cave is it is like when you get splashed by a stream. It is still water, but it is not the same. I remember this place. I always do. And I remember what I have to do, but I don't remember how or why or
You have done this before, you are certain.
many times.
And the last time? When was this?
Last fall.
So recent. You do not remember what you need to do.
I know what I need to do. I know the ritual. I don't remember why I started. How I got here. I just
Reese is like nervously playing with his cards. Do you mind if I try something? Once in Lostrin, I helped a man who was sick, and my magic brought back some of his memory. Perhaps I could do the same for you.
Okay.
And I gesture lightly and make little fireflies. It won't hurt. But I will walk over and I guess kneel in front of them, and I will gather fireflies like I would normally would. Only instead of that white light, they shift to a light blue, and then I gently press them, and I cast Lesser Restoration.
As you do, the moon full in the sky behind you, Nias in full form this evening, the light of your fireflies is almost radiant, as if the proximity and to the full moon has amplified in some way. And they settle down onto Vizyla's skin, and they close their eyes and open them. And Vizyla's eyes are just faintly fading that same blue color. No. I'm sorry.
It was worth a shot.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Of course. Reese will back away.
Between Vizyla's comments of not knowing why she's here, where she came, why they are here and where they came from, and then seeing the moon and this being the first time that it's been full and this hasn't been able to take its perch at the top to kind of be close to dear old dad. He's going to kind of lounge back against a stump or a rock or whatever, and position himself to be across the fire from where the moon is, and will minor illusion the aurora in the smoke of the fire, and then use thaumaturgy over that minute to make it shimmer colors, as he almost is a little tearful about the combination of events.
Lux comes over and sits in your lap and wags her tail and watches the show.
Okay, not as tearful.
Emotional support familiar.
That's right.
As you do that, that is very good.
This is just the main thing that I have figured out how to do. It makes me feel close to someone.
I can do something similar.
Do you need me to stop so that you can perform instead? I'm happy to watch. I'm happy to learn.
As soon as you say perform, they shut down. It is okay. You do very well. I have not talked to people this much in a long time. Thank you.
I'm happy to learn quietly if you do not wish to talk to me.
No. I have been here a long time. Sandy is the first person to not treat me badly.
You appear to be very young for having been here a long time.
Well, it is spring.
Yes. And
So I am young.
What?
Things are new in the spring.
Pardon?
Things are new in the spring.
My culture have
Look at
anything
it.
like? Sorry, I didn't realize you were still talking.
That's fine.
Good guy.
Does my culture have anything similar to what she's talking about that I can make a check for?
Roll a history check.
Oh, I'm good at those.
You're so good at those.
3.
Okay.
The-
As you look up at the sky and the stars being somewhat distant with the bright full moon, seeking your Zan told tales through the stars, and the shapes in the sky tell the stories of your people, and they're just pretty far away right now. Another awkward moment passes as Vizyla and Swiftmane returning sit in silence, just staring at the fire.
Mist doesn't believe in awkward moments, so he just goes back to making his light show.
Fair enough. In the middle of your light show, the cinders start to swirl and form a sphere that is just a constant swirling mass. And you look over and there's a smirk on Vizyla's face as you look down and see their hand is moving back and forth just ever so faintly. And they look up, realize a few of you have caught on, and stop. And the cinders scatter.
Reese is like watching, lasered in.
I'm going to get some sleep. Thank you. And good night.
Get some rest.
They rise up from the fire and go off a little ways with Swiftmane and bed down. Just on the forest floor.
I'll take first watch. Just pretense on the night anyway.
Sure.
If anyone else is,
I'll take a watch as well.
If anyone else is looking for rest, I don't think I'll sleep quite yet.
I don't mind sleeping. I feel like tomorrow's going to be a big day.
Did you
He doesn't
bring
have a very good view of Father. I will go to sleep anyway.
Did you
We
bring
may
any
fell asleep
bean-
meditating.
Did you bring any bean juice with you?
I did not.
You're going to have a rough morning.
I know. I'm aware. Honestly, it was making my hand shaky, so probably best.
Those of you who take watches through the evening, a calm and eventless evening passes. Selu and Kai, since you are both have stated you would take a watch, and you are probably the most observant in this particular manner, go ahead and make perception checks for me.
I rolled the 7.
Mine is a total of 19.
Okay.
Better.
It is not hard to spot, Kai. You notice there's not a lot of animals around. Selu, however, you notice that there are night owls and various other stalkers out in the night, but they are staying about 40 or 50 feet away in any direction from where you are. Almost as if they walk around in wide berth, going out of their path of travel.
Is the Kestralvix asleep as well with Vizyla, or are they like up, moving about?
With that perception check, you look over, and occasionally their head is down, but his eyes are never closed. I mean, he blinks, but
Don't need no sleep.
he remains vigilant.
But he's staying next to Vizyla through the whole night.
Correct. Yes. And as the evening passes, you all wake rested and
Oh yeah.
having completed a long rest successfully and safely.
Like that button.
And you wake to Vizyla rising. And I'll be right back. And they trot off for a few moments, and 20, 30 minutes later come back with a bushel of berries and edible plants for the group. It is not as good as your pork and apples.
Oh, but it will make a lovely breakfast, and I will proceed to mix honey, butter, and eggs together to make a pastry to stuff these berries into and cook on the fire.
This mother.
Yo.
I thought this was. Are we allowed to talk this dirty on stream?
Yeah, that.
I think we
Sorry for
were.
the PG-13 rating.
The next day proceeds very much like the first. Vizyla quiet and awkward, not really opening up unless approached or directly questioned.
I will say that 2 of those, I can make 2. 2 of those little ones I'm going to make Juby snacks.
Wonderful.
And I will make into treats. And I will give 1 to Reese and 1 to Mist. And let's see. Just to make sure. Yeah.
Jubith.
They when you eat it, it lasts for 8 hours, and you gain hit points equal to my proficiency bonus. So you would gain 2 extra hit points on top of yours.
Temporary hit points?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Whenever you eat them, but they last for 8 hours.
Gotcha.
You can use your bonus action to eat one of these treats to gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. Yep.
Sweet.
Running into battle. Bonus action, shove this in my mouth.
We just eat this croissant real quick.
I think the effect lasts for 8 hours. Special treats last for 8 hours after being made.
Usually the way something like that works is the treats will last for 8 hours, but then the temporary hit points will last until a shorter long rest.
Right.
Correct.
I just see this being like Fallout, where you're battling like giant ants, and suddenly halfway through combat, you're just stuffing food in your face, and then you go back to
Of course.
that.
Yeah.
Of course.
So does anyone wish to do anything in particular over the next day's journey as you travel through the woods unmolested?
This time, I'm fidgeting for real with my other.
Go ahead and roll an investigation check.
$17.
Okay. As you are sitting there sliding the pieces you've already worked, and you know their pattern, you know their grooves, you know how they move, you move one more piece. There's a click. And the small boards that make up the puzzle, you feel them come loose in your hand. And opening your hand, there is a platinum piece.
Oh, snap!
Snap.
What's up?
Now you got to figure out how to put it back together.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I will say,
Put
with
like an acorn in there.
7 successes, you are able to put it back together as necessary.
Perfect.
Should you choose to do something with it.
So we're gonna use it to send secret messages at some point. Teach my friends the code.
Oh yeah.
At some point during the day's travel, Selu would take up that same position up near Vizyla and Swiftmane and ask, you mentioned the seasons, and they clearly are important to you. Do you know of Ravamel? Of the Wild Heart?
Is that what the Terran worship now?
Many of them.
I've heard of it. I am not familiar. It is new to me.
It's a god that they worship that represents the seasons. That has faces for each one. I was just curious if by chance you knew of anything of them, or perhaps them of a different name. But it's no concern if you do not.
I'm sorry. I heard of them a while ago. That the Terran... It was word of mouth. It was not mentioned when I was there.
It is no worry. But it is an interesting, I guess a god you would call. Very representative of nature in many ways.
They look around and it has its beauty and its darkness, like the gods.
I've always been a little more interested in the beauty and at times the darkness of nature more directly, rather than through the prayers to the gods. But I did not know if others worshipped them, or just the Terrandine.
I am sorry, I can't answer that.
No apology needed.
It Do they still follow the mage god? Prathas?
Not many. I'm sure there are some that still do. Almost certainly the nobles. But most are more interested in moving on with the life they have than worshipping something they no longer possess.
That is a good way to live.
There are good people.
Some of them.
Most of them.
And as the afternoon creeps in, we're here. This rock ahead. And you look ahead and you don't see anything. It's nothing fancy. It's just a rock face. It was once a temple.
Oh.
We should be inside. The swift mane can keep the horses safe. They may not have room to get around inside.
Okay.
This is a nice rock. What do you expect us to do with this rock?
And she looks at Kai.
It's a rock.
Is that okay?
Navarra can take care of herself.
I know. And it's at this point that the difference between Vizyla here and in the town of Schema starts to hit you. They are awkward and uncomfortable and full of anxiety, but there is a sureness about them. Moving through the woods, stepping over logs, not breaking a branch as they do, barely disturbing the foliage as they move through it.
They are in their element.
And they dismount Swiftmane and pat them on the side, and Swiftmane turns and starts trotting away a little bit. She'll come up to, or they'll come up to each of you as you begin to dismount. Take anything you need. We'll be here for the night.
Reese grabs his giant backpack. Okay.
And as the horses one by one, kind of following Navarra's lead more than anything, do you see Swiftmane start trotting off into the woods? And since they've been traveling as a unit for the day, all the horses seem to just follow the leader off into the woods.
Cute.
And
Yeah, that's cute.
And stepping up, for a moment, you swear it's just a solid rock face. And Vizyla slips through a crevice that you didn't notice before. It's there. It's not disguised or covered. You know, they didn't step through the wall. It's just difficult to find. And they disappear into the darkness.
Well then, everyone ready?
Reese is probably like white knuckling his staff. Okay.
We lost the music, by the way. That was intentional.
No more music.
The last time I followed you all into a hole, I almost died. Please do not let me die this time.
I wouldn't let you die.
Like, proactively drawing dagger and like punching back behind Jubei, to work my way into this whatever we're getting into.
What are you doing back there?
Hiding. What does it look like? Just peeking out from over your
You hide
shoulders.
behind me? Kai is bigger.
But I have known you longer. You are my comfort object.
Your emotional support. Lizard.
Right.
Emotional support samurai.
Like it.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone needs one of those.
Yeah.
One of those.
Ahead of you in the darkness, the crevice you have to slip through, you find yourself having to turn sideways to shimmy through it. And eventually, it gives way. And a few more moments pass, the darkness kind of surrounding you. And you hear a... And the
Your noise canceling canceled all of that.
I hate it so much. And a torch lights, and you see an old worn stone sconce along a worked wall that's half crumbled and worn from time. Vizyla leads you deeper, lighting additional torches until eventually you find yourself at an opening. Two of those large stone guardians and a line of glowing green runes in an alcove several steps up from the rest of it.
As we're heading into
Is
this place,
Navarre in the cave with us?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Just haven't gotten there yet.
I just feel like we're sneaking in this cave and we're here.
Yep.
He's just following. Nah.
What? Daddy said I didn't have to stay.
as we are heading into this place, and getting to where we're actually seeing architecture and make of things, is there anything that looks familiar to any of the other statues or the waystones or anything along those lines that we've seen on the journey so far?
Ooh, I was gonna check similarly, but more related to the other underground section we were in, instead of the stuff on the surface.
Good thought.
Uniquely, I would like Selu to roll a history check, and Mist to roll an investigation.
This is the Nexus, right? She was talking about?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah.
I was
Big
just wondering
four.
if it felt similar to something I've experienced in the past.
Okay.
14 for Mist.
So for Selu, the architecture is more well preserved, but the same as the Guardians. You swear these stone statues are in better shape, but identical to the ones that were out along the road.
Right.
Mist, the stonework here is different. Kai, there's a feeling about it that is very similar. And you all notice an almost like electricity in the air that seems to get stronger as you get closer to this alcove with these ever so faintly glowing green runes. And I don't know why the music keeps cutting out.
There we go. Nope.
Are you saying that we feel it in the air tonight?
You.
Not yet, but no, not yet. It's coming though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I had that song queued up right now, but it's almost static electricity around you feels very similar to the cave with the mushrooms and some of you other experiences in your life, but stronger, much stronger. It's almost as if moving through water compared to walking in air. You know, you're not hindered in any way, but it's just that kind of almost oppressive difference.
What direction did we come from?
Yeah, is this pillar where we came out of, or?
So, to make life easier, you came from here.
Where?
Yeah, and feel free to explore the cavern. But there are several torches lit throughout the area that Vizyla seems to have ignited.
Okay. Are they regular torches, or are they burning different colors, or?
No, they are regular torches. You can see there is dried, balled up, and almost like tarred balls of moss in them.
Interesting.
As soon as I feel that staticky feeling in the air, I'm gonna pick up Lux and wear her like a scarf.
So Kai sees the runes. He doesn't know anything about magic, so he's gonna be like, I'm just gonna like kind of secure the area. So if you want to make me some kind of, or if you want me to make some kind of investigation check or anything, I just want to make sure that there's no creatures lurking.
Sure. Easy to do, though. There doesn't appear to be any creatures within the immediate vicinity. The edges of the map are rock walls, with the exception of the way you came in.
Jubei will see the runes up on the dais and go, nope, and just continue in another direction.
Sure.
Mist, who is
I'll walk
hiding
up.
behind the pillar behind Jubei, will skirt over here and continue hiding up against the wall around where Jubei is.
I'll walk up to Vizyla. Do you need our help with the ritual, or?
No. I can do it. I just need you to keep me safe.
Okay,
Do
we can do that.
you know what will come?
No.
Well, neither will we.
There. In the fall, there was nothing. A few years ago, a large insect, a giant spider one time, a spirit one time that wailed.
Oh no.
Every time she mentions something, like Reach shrinks in a little more. Like, oh no.
But nothing predictable.
You know, this one time there was a dragon.
Well, we can. We're pretty capable now. We can help.
We'll keep you safe. How long do you need?
A few hours.
And let us know when you're ready.
Mist has been ready and is like ducked down next to the stalagmite and like dagger out still, just tentatively looking around at everything. He does not want to die in a
Maybe
cave.
stab something.
Mist is the guy that loses it during the paint job movie.
Yeah.
I can't go again!
No, okay. I will. Thank you.
Of course.
They turn to the alcove and step up. And as they do, the crystal that you saw earlier begins to emanate that same kind of green aura that the runes are emanating as well.
I don't go up there, but can I see what language the runes are of any sort? I would not put my feet up on the dais, right? But maybe a couple steps
Beacon.
up, kind of thing. Just kind of watching as they go to see where they're heading up there, knowing exactly where they are.
What languages do you speak? Slash read?
Common, Elvish, Primordial, Sylvan, and Undercommon.
Wow.
Oh, he's our Porter Girl droid.
Yeah. You see a very broken dialect from your perspective of Sylvan.
Okay.
Carved into
Ooh.
the floor. And these slowly pulsating runes start to glow brighter as that crystal approaches. And Vizyla sets it into almost a recess in between the stones that it fits into perfectly. And there's and the lines of stone emanating out for about 2 or 3 feet. There's a glow underneath them coming in between. And you can almost feel a breeze pick up. Selu, as you turn back to the group, you feel this rush of wind past your head, emanating from the space behind you where Vizyla is.
Take another look back with the rush of wind and then turn towards Reese. Well, a couple hours then, yes?
I guess so.
You said this will attract something, or
Mm.
some things.
It sounds like it may.
That's what they said.
They
Do you mean
said
creatures? Or
sometimes it has, others it hasn't. They mentioned a few different things.
They were also vague.
perhaps we put ourselves and kind of gesture around the cave, find a defensible position, kind of.
Reese just doesn't understand.
Mist is already in one.
That tracks.
Looking over at Mist. Yes, perhaps not being on our own would be good.
Reese looks around, standing in the center of the room. I see what you mean now.
So
I don't understand.
Kai rifles through his bag and pulls out. Man, I didn't think about this. I have a hunting trap in my inventory, but what kind of hunting trap would it be? It wouldn't be like a bear trap. It
Why
would be
not?
because Kai's not gonna have that. He doesn't want to fucking murder things. He would probably have one of those boxes to catch rodents or something like that. So never mind. I was gonna set
snare box.
Snare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Might have some tough ass bears out on the plains. You don't know.
I mean, do we need bait, or like?
Well, we don't
Do we
want to
just
bring
wait?
things here that we don't have to, but anything
We
to
can-
make the terrain more advantageous to us.
We can use Lux as bait.
She like looks over and growls a little bit.
It's adorable.
Yeah, no matter how angry she gets, she's just cuter.
I don't know what this would take, Gabe. Can I I have rope. Can I rig up a trap to like the loop trap where if you step in it, it like yanks you?
A Scooby-Doo trap.
Snare.
Yeah, like
There's not really any tree branches as you're looking around, and you spot a spot where two stalactites are close enough together that there's a gap in between that you could sling a rope through, and looking around, you're able to set something up. Go ahead and roll a survival check for me to see kind of doing this outside of your normal element. How
Yeah. That's not bad. That's a 23.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Ooh, I've got.
Okay. So where
I
do you
want. So you said there's only one entrance into here, and it's over this way.
correct.
This is where we came from. So, and are these pillars or thing? What am I seeing here?
Those are pillars in the kind of low-hanging dew that's in here.
So, if possible, I want to put it right in between these two pillars, like the pillar and the wall here, like the obvious path for something to walk.
Okay. So kind of right here-ish.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do these pillars in the southeast look suspicious?
Come again?
Do the pillars in the southeast look suspicious?
Make an investigation check.
Oh no. That's a
What did
flat
you
50.
do?
Didn't touch anything.
What'd you roll?
15.
Okay. They're interesting. The pillars themselves seem to be fairly normal works of stone. They're pretty, but there's one over there that's broken, and there's another over here that's broken. And you've seen them throughout this temple, Vizyla called it, or the shrine. But the circle in the middle kind of strikes you as odd. It is relieved, and kind of waving your hand through the dew and low-hanging mist in this space, there is what would be scrawling or writing or runes carved throughout the entire thing.
Hey, Selu, can you read this?
Maybe? And I'll go over and help take a look.
Selu, roll an Arcana check.
I just... Can I help him since I'm fanning mist and stuff?
An Arcana check. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually not good at Arcana, so...
10.
I don't know that wizard mumbo jumbo.
No idea.
Yeah.
It's old. It probably meant something at one point.
No, I'm
Never mind.
I'm afraid I don't know what this is.
Just making sure it wasn't anything to surprise us. I'll just find a place to hide.
And as you turn towards the central area, you all start to hear a humming, almost like song, coming from Vizyla.
I looked
I'm gonna
up and
panic.
seeing everybody hiding and building traps. I'm just sitting on the edge of a pillar. Were we supposed to hide? Out loud, echoing in the chamber.
I look around and I say, I do not think hiding is. Well, I think our best bet would be to hold it at the entrance if possible, but whatever it might be.
Armor makes it very hard to hide.
We have to protect Vizyla.
By hiding?
I would be less concerned with hiding and more concerned with keeping close to at least one other person. Just in case.
So Reese said we have to protect Vizyla, and Kai says, yes, and I believe the best way of doing that would be to prevent things from getting in here. And I gesture towards the entrance. Derek, knowing full well that something can totally teleport in here, but Kai
Right.
not.
So,
Or walk through the rope if it's a ghost.
having heard the singing, Zaylu kind of walks back up this way and gives a look back up towards Vizyla, assuming nothing has changed otherwise.
Vizyla is sitting on the ground, facing away from you, their body blocking that quartz crystal that they were carrying, and just kind of gently swaying back and forth and humming.
I'm gonna have Lux stand at the top of the steps and sit down and look cute.
With Lux up there, Sayla will head kind of down here towards the corner, kind of getting about half distance between Mist and Kai, and unshoulder their bow, but just to have it at the ready.
Okay.
But
This is another. Patrick probably knows better, but Reese doesn't. I'm gonna go over to this guardian statue and get behind it. And for the first time, Reese is gonna flatten himself. Well, he's gonna look at the wall, like the cliff wall, or not cliff, the cave wall, and like analyze it for like a good 30 seconds. And then I'm going to press myself against the wall, like back against it. And then I'm gonna silent image right in front of myself, as if the wall is in front of me.
Okay. How long does that last?
10 minutes. I'm just gonna keep.
Okay.
I am going to set up along this pillar here. I want to I basically want to put my back to the pillar, but listening intently for anything triggering the trap. I'm going to have my spear set up next to me, ready to throw, and then, my shield out.
So the preparations made and the wait sets in. 5 minutes go by. Vizyla
I eat my snack.
gently rocking back and forth. 10 minutes go by.
Anyone else have a leg cramp?
20 minutes go by.
for someone that meditates so often, you don't like sitting still, do you? The leg is just constantly going over there.
I'm not used to sitting on a pillar like this, but you are right. I should be sitting on the ground.
Someone
It's the moisture in the air.
roll a d10 for me.
Not it.
Okay.
Can I
Sean's
roll?
got it.
I'll roll. Why not? That's a 10.
I think Sean's got us.
Oh no.
I had the opposite. I got a 1.
Okay. So I called Sean, so we'll stick with Sean's roll.
Lol. That could be either good or really bad.
Either way, we're
Jubei,
Yo.
as you are sitting there,
I get another leg cramp.
you get another leg cramp.
Pins and needles.
it's the pheasant coming back for you.
You close your eyes for a moment, just blinking them out, and you are standing in a garden, beautifully manicured, with a stone path, ground rock of the beautiful mountain behind your home before you.
Shit, are you dead? Is this that gladiator scene with the wheat field?
You stand alone. What do you do?
And I was just standing in a cave.
You were.
Okay. Guys? Hello?
Jubei! And stepping out, sliding the door open and stepping out is your youngest sister. Jubei, father needs you. On the hill.
Jubei does not trust magic, and Jubei is very wary of this.
Does he look normal to us?
Feeling this juxtaposition of you know where you were, but this feels comfortable. This feels right.
But he's also a very logical fighter.
The feeling is still there. You know that this is not what's happening, but it is comforting and comfortable and right in your mind.
As much as I would like to be here, I should not. I endanger you by being present. This is not right. I was not here.
I don't know what you mean. Your mother told me to come find you. Father's waiting on the hill. I'll go find your mother. And your shell sister closes the door and disappears into the house.
We'll just start looking around.
The gardens around you appear just as they do in your memory. The large oak tree jutting out of the center of the courtyard is there, swaying gently in the wind.
He is very... As comfortable as this is, he's very wary.
Certainly.
Especially his distrust of magic. I should not be home. I journeyed for months to get away from here.
Does anything look different to the rest of us?
Jubei is sitting there meditating, moving a little bit occasionally, shifting uncomfortably.
Given my past, Jubei would attempt to leave.
Okay. You take a step and find yourself standing up off of the pillar in the cave with your friends.
Step back down on the pillar.
No change. Hi.
Yes.
Leaning against the pillar, the mist rolling through, you remember a faint breeze rolls through your hair, and you remember the feeling of galloping across an open plains, and find yourself galloping across the open plains on Navarra's back. Night sky in front of you in full view, stars and ancestors alight.
Do I recognize where I am?
You are on the plains. You are home.
Not like specifically though. Okay. Do I have memory of where I just was? Like I remember my friends, or this is just like a dream?
You know you are leaning against a pillar in a cave, keeping Vizyla safe. You know you are heading to Thrayne, and you just came from Schema, and you feel like you're right where you belong.
I want to look around and up, I guess, for any of those like figures that I've been seeing in my peripheral vision lately.
Sure. There is no one on the horizon.
Than just to the stars. What have you done with?
And looking up into the night sky. Because I just blanked on the name. Looking up, you see Navarra, the constellation, lit alight with Morgal, the horsemaster, on her back. And the constellation seems to move as if it's riding with you.
Tentatively, I want to reach my hand out and grab where around the area where I place my spear,
Okay.
just to see.
As you reach down for your spear, you tighten your grip on your spear in the cave with your friends. And you're right back where you were.
Okay.
Selu. Looking around as you are focusing on this and the kind of strange hints of familiarity with the language and everything you've experienced in the last day, a gentle breeze blows past your head and you find yourself standing in a garden. You look across and your grandmother is there, prattling on about the Wild Mother in one of her inane rambles as she reaches down and plucks an herb and hands it back to you, and you find yourself holding a basket. It's familiar. It's comforting.
And take the herb and put it in the basket. Grand? Can you hear me?
Of course I can hear you. Telu, I just... Here, take the witch root. Here, and you know that story about the... Just goes on and on.
Take a look around to see if anyone else from my family is about, or anybody from the village is nearby. Signs of anything that seems out of ordinary, besides all of it.
As you kind of straighten your back and look around, you find yourself turning and looking at Mistlethar in the cave. Reese.
Hmm.
You eat your Juby snack.
Yep.
Mist. You find yourself standing on a tightrope. That balanced crouch in the corner evokes crouching on a tightrope, a circus performance, and you are 30 feet off the ground on a rope. Crowd gathered, the young children looking at the freak show, arms wide in performance. What do you do?
Recalling similar experiences, I would immediately look around for other troop members that I might recognize.
You see your ringmaster down below you, telling everyone of the blue demon, and watch his skill. And you know your cue. You're supposed to jump. The net's there. Your juggling balls are right there. Everything's laid out.
So specifically seeing him there and knowing the memories that I have now, taking the cue to jump, I would instead jump and almost dive at him, reaching for my dagger as I fall towards his body.
Okay.
Almost enraged to see him.
Just rages.
Your hand grips tighter on your dagger on the queen's hand as you kind of rock back in your crouch form against the wall in the cave.
Jube, if you are back in your person at this point, you would see Mist startle back out of this, having lost the composure that he had of stealthily kind of hiding in the corner.
I'd be sitting back, and if I notice him, I'd be like, "You too, huh? I was someplace familiar."
it was perhaps one time a happy place.
I concur. One
Jubei,
time
roll
I have
a d10 for me.
to 10 again.
Okay.
So I take it I was not the only one that saw something.
Yes, I was taken somewhere.
I did as well.
Same.
Reese pops out of his little like illusion in the wall. What?
Did you see anything? Were you?
No. What?
Look
I
up
look
to
over
the
at Lux.
dais. Where's Vizyla?
What about Vizyla?
I said, look up at the dais. Where's Vizyla?
Just rocking back and forth, humming, kind of echoing from the walls.
This place is strange. It's trying to lure me into a sense of security about showing me something I cannot have.
Join me a past I cannot change, and I duck down and take that crouching stance again behind the stalagmite.
I got no such sense of ill intent. It just took me home.
I am super worried now.
Reese, make a perception check.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop my illusion too, probably. 14.
Okay. Looking down this way, you see faintly a blue and purple flash, and something moves. And then another blue and purple flash, and something moves.
Where are
Is
they
it-
seeing this?
From down this way.
Okay.
Does it look like visions, or like something is actually there?
There's one more blue and purple flash in the moment as materializing from the flash a large white and blue spider.
Oh god.
I just
And we're going to break.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
Nah.
Yeah.
We'll be back here in
Lullabye.
just a couple of minutes to deal with this nonsense.
y'all got to
Jeez.
see y'all got to see happy things.
Oh man, yeah. Well,
I got to see terrifying
I think
things.
we're all about to see some terrifying things. We will be back in just a minute. While we're gone on the break, go check out Go Figure for some super cool minis. I'm sure they've got some pretty baller spiders in there somewhere. So check them out. Use our code if you see something that you really like, and get yourself 10% off. And we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Spider!
Spiders! Oh god!
Exclamation point. Ta-da!
A spy, a spider, an arachnid! Oh man.
We need the Metal Gear Solid alert noise, though,
That's what I was just saying. The little.
for the exclamation point on the spider. The game makes one typo, and we all brag about it.
Alrighty.
Was it a typo, though?
Amazing.
Thank you
party.
for somebody else using the command besides me. I appreciate you.
Oh,
Can I
we're
get
all-
initiative from everybody?
Aw, yeah.
Oh man.
Can I get initiative?
Oh no. I'm also so mad that I took away my illusion to go look at this thing.
Hey, my initiative's an 8.
Mine's a 4.
I got you. I got you on that. I got a 1.
I was like,
+1.
I'll roll this one. Since this is initiative, I'll roll this one on Astral.
Oof.
When your familiar gets a better initiative than you.
No, the familiar. That's just the character I'd select.
This music is epic now.
I don't even hear the music. I don't have it coming through my headphones.
You're missing out.
Hold on.
Pretty solid. Pretty solid.
All right.
Yeah, I rolled a 1 +1.
So that answers that question. Super quick for Lux. Have you been liking Lux going after you, or do you want to go?
I like the after me.
Okay, perfect. Selu, what was your initiative?
13.
It makes it easier to keep track of.
And Mistlethar.
12.
Guys, 13 was not supposed to have me going first. Guys, come on.
Selu.
Thankfully, the spider goes.
God.
First
Okay,
was-
have I seen this thing yet? Like,
They-
Reese spotted things.
Reese just screamed. Reese
I
just screamed.
Reese did scream.
Reese reacted, but
I'm
like,
so far down on initiative order, I expect it to be dead by the time it gets to me, guys.
doubtful. But okay.
I like your faith in us, though.
So, what do I see
What
from
do
my
your-
current perspective?
So you've got line of sight there.
Okay, so I do definitively see a spider.
Dan spider.
You see a spider!
I may not have seen like the flashes beforehand or anything along those lines, but I see a spider.
Yes, there is a spider physically present.
Cool. I don that longbow that I had out already, and I take a shot, making this my favored bow.
Woo woo.
Assuming-
See it from where they are.
Assuming that I hit. He said I had line of sight, so like I probably would take a step. Yeah, I'll take 2 steps this way just to get
Shoot through that
clearer
pillar. Yeah.
line.
Get him. Also, I
that's
love how
a-
the initiative tracker has a 1. It tells you which round it is.
That is a 16 on the die for a total of 21.
You definitely hit spider.
Tink. Alright, so this will be a favored foe strike, and for the first time, this will also be a dreadful strikes.
Ooh.
So that's 2 additional d4.
Is that part of your subclass?
Yep.
That's cool.
So that is, well, both the d4s are 2s, so it doesn't matter which one's which. Let's see. That is 5 plus 3 is 10. So 10 points of piercing damage, and as the arrow hones in, a whisper of wind grows around it, and as it strikes, there's a as it spreads across the spider, and it takes 2 psychic damage as well.
Okay. All right.
Reese screams again.
And that's going to be it for my turn there, other than to just state, Reese, you might want to get away. And that's it.
All right. Mistlethar.
So, Mist, seeing the spider, freaking out that he's still in the cave, he's going to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, kind of dive in between these two things, getting behind Jubei. He is going to use his action and almost like grab the pillar that's fallen and kind of like drape it over him like a cloak. As he has seen Reese change the appearance of things, he will cast minor illusion to make it look like the space he is standing in is just another part of the pillar. And he will bonus action hide.
All right. Go
Nice.
ahead.
Sorry?
Roll that stealth check for me. And then hit end turn.
See, that is 15.
Okay.
Not great.
Jubei, you're up.
Okay. Let's see. How far can I get with the handy dandy measuring tool? So 30 feet straight line. There. Do I even see it? For
Oh,
one?
yes.
Definitely run at the spider, and I will stay right there. And you know what? I will call out 3 words. Hey, over here, waving at the spider, and I will take the dodge action.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and roll. Roll either an intimidation or persuasion check for me.
Well,
Yeah,
don't want to. Yeah, don't want to scare it away. I will roll a persuasion. You know, how good, juicy red dragonborn over here. And that is a that's a 9.
Cool.
That's a 6 plus 3.
Cool. Go ahead and hit end turn whenever you're done, my friend. Unless you have a bonus action.
Nope, I'm a fighter.
Yep. Kai, you're up.
Alright, I'm gonna start off by bonus action raging, and I'm gonna do the thing and see what I get.
Yeah. Do it.
I rolled an 8. What is the 8?
Ooh.
Damn it. Okay, I'll read this out loud. A bolt of light shoots from your chest. Another creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you, that's why I said damn it, must succeed on a constitution save or take radiant damage and be blinded until the start of your next turn.
Alright, Zaylu.
Until you rage in, you can use this effect again on each of your turns as a bonus action. Okay, so thematically, this is going to be really funny. Okay, so this is the tattoo shape lights up on my chest, and it's a shape of a lightning bolt. My eyes go as I see like Selu move with their bow to fire. I'm like freaking out because like I'm right here by the entrance. Nothing got past me, I swear. And so like the glow pops up immediately, and the light just like flashes out from my chest and like hits the ceiling. And there's like some rubble that falls, and I'm like, and then
I swear this never happens.
And then I'm gonna do something that I have not done before.
We're all missing out the point that he just said Kai has a flash lightning tattoo. Kai is the Flash. It's just...
Alright, so I immediately like seize on my vision that I had just had, and I see how far away my friends are, and I am like basically in my head I'm like, man, this is why I ride into battle with a horse. Like, why is my horse not here? And as I'm envisioning me closing the distance with Navarra appears out of thin air in like a flash of like silvery light. Can I get that, Gabe?
Ooh.
What?
Let's do it.
Magic.
It's got a
What?
Very confused with a mouthful of grass.
I was about to make a snide remark about Kai being pissed off about running on his actual own 2 legs, and here he is summoning horses.
Okay, so
Oh,
I'm going to
man.
use half my movement to mount. So that's 15 feet, and then I'm going to use her movement, which is 60 feet. So let's go 5, 10, 20, 25, 30, 5, 40, 50, 5, 60. Okay, getting there. Oh, why did you go there? Oh, I have both my characters selected, that's why. Lol. Okay. So getting here, how close am I? 5, 10. Damn, okay, I'm still in long range with my spear. That's fine, I'm going to throw my spear at disadvantage from horseback.
Okay.
I can't reckless attack as a ranged attack, can I?
It has to be a melee.
Has to be melee, yeah.
Do I still get my... I don't get my damage bonus either, do I?
Nope.
Lame. Okay, that's fine. So here we go. It's not great. That's an 11. Yeah, 11 to hit. Gabe?
Does not hit. Sorry.
Okay, you're good. So the spear clatters off the ground, flies over the spider's head, and then as I'm riding in, I draw my sword, my long sword, and I'm done.
Okay. It is Spider's turn.
Spider!
The spider. Let's see here. 45, 50, 40. Reese is the tastiest snack. 30. Double check. And then bonus action. It gets to there. And there is another purple flash.
Right.
And then
Oh boy. Oh boy.
from the wall where Mistlethar was standing,
It's Spider 2.
and where was I going to have him come in?
Still
Spider
no.
Oh no!
does not seem to notice you.
Ooh.
Movement is 5, 10,
Oh, great, they're coming to me.
15, 20, 25, 30. That's as far as they can get. Do you want to take an attack of opportunity, Sir Mistlethar?
No, I technically have my crossbow out right now.
Okay. And 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Gonna be attacking Sailor. 20 to hit.
Definitely hits.
Alright. You take 8 points of piercing damage, and I need you to make a constitution saving throw, please.
Alright. You said 8 points of damage?
8 points of piercing damage, and a constitution saving throw, please.
Okay. Constitution saving throw. That is a big ol' 12.
Okay. A poison seeps through the bite as the spider latches onto your arm, but you are able to shake off some of the damage, only taking half, which is 8.
So a total of 16.
A total of 16, but you only take half.
Of the 6, I'm confused now. So 8 down to 4? Or it would have been 16 and I take 8.
16 points of poison damage, reduced to 8,
Okay,
because you succeeded on your saving throw.
got it.
And that is it for Spider.
As I just
Reese.
get knocked for a half my total health in one go, guys. That was good. For
Sorry, Boo, I got
making
you.
a save. It's pretty
That
exciting.
one guy left. Don't.
Yeah,
like
you scared him away, Reese.
I don't like that. No bueno. I tumble out of my hiding spot over to Lux, and then Lux is going to shoot forward right up to the spider, like an attack dog. I'm going to panic and shoot an Eldritch Blast in my panic state. I will not even bother with my staff this time and just finger guns. Wow. And just completely, I rolled a 10. So just shot goes wide in my panic. But as a bonus action, I will tell Lux to attack. He has a thing. You gave me this thing.
Yep.
I'm gonna do that real quick. Boom. Bite. 21 to hit.
Hits.
5 piercing damage, and they need to make a Constitution save.
Fails.
The DC for that is higher, by the way. It's actually a 13.
It should be.
And then he takes 11 radiant damage with a flash of light as Lux basically explodes on impact. And then
I could have dashed
that
far.
is the end of my turn.
Lux is a cute version of Negasonic Warhead from Deadpool.
Yeah.
Less
Sonic
angst.
Warhead was kind of cute.
Patrick, remind me after the game. We'll fix that.
Yeah, that's fine. I took the invocation so that it switches the DC.
Cool. Remind me after the game. We'll get it fixed. That is incorrect initiative order. Okay, Selu.
Alright, so with this appearing next to me, that will be dropping the longbow and drawing out the 2 Eskrima sticks. I will bonus action, and they will thrum briefly with a bit of bluish green energy, and I will make just one attack since I already used my bonus action to do that. So, wow, well, that was almost really good, and instead that's a 10.
Unfortunately, the 10 will not quite hit.
Don't think I have inspiration currently. Do I? Do not. Alright, so that is action and bonus action, and yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Sir Mistlethar.
Now, Mistlethar, similarly to a child peeking their head out from under a blanket when they're scared of something, will kind of move, and that minor illusion kind of fades as he moves through it, readying his crossbow to shoot at Spider 3. Since I was unseen by that one, would I have advantage for a surprise attack?
You are still technically hidden, so yes.
Nice.
Additionally, it's in melee with Lux.
Okay. So it's a 15 on the die plus
It's
something. Where's my crossbow? Okay, cool. So that is 1d8 and then 2d6 for the sneak attack. I'm throwing this at myself. Okay. And that is a pretty solid roll. 16 total damage.
nicely done, sir.
And then realizing that I probably pissed it off, I will kind of use half my movement to move stealthily and duck back here and bonus action hide again.
Okay, go ahead and roll a stealth check for me. Don't bother.
Yeah, it's great anyway.
Yeah, No,
So.
they rolled a 1. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Everything's
Cool.
popping up and disappearing,
Yeah,
All right.
Including missile fire.
including Mist.
yeah, including miss. Jubei.
So, with this thing popping up beside me, looking around, Salu's got that one, Kai's over there.
Yeah, Salu's got this one. It's fine. It's fine.
I got you, boo. Don't worry.
Well, I'm actually thinking about dipping and just leaving Lux to tank this one.
Just this tiny little box.
It's not gonna last long.
But, you know what, Jubei's not that
Pomeranian.
heartless. So, I'll step in.
You're gonna fox it up.
Yeah. Lux is
As
gonna
I do-
mess him up.
Drawing the long sword and just coming in for regular attack. Regular attack. Oop. That is a 16.
Definitely hits.
Awesome, definitely. So, just coming in with a slight just whip up with the single edge of my single-edged longsword, straight up trying to go between the fangs to get its attention away from the little foxy creature that looks like a snack for him. I do 5 points of damage.
Okay. And as you strike it between the eyes, its eyes roll in, and it crumples.
Nice.
Dead?
DED.
Wow, okay.
Oof.
Junpei just has this look on his face. If I didn't hit it that hard.
I only poked it.
Anything else from Jubei? Any further movement?
Yeah, I moved 5 feet, so, let's see. 5, so I've got enough left to over here. And very quickly holding the sword down to my side, still dripping the ichor from the spider over here to, Sailor. And that will-
All right. Bonus action, sir? Are you good?
No bonus action. I am a fighter yet again.
All right. You're up.
I get like one thing to do between long rests and short rests, so I was saving it.
Hearing the scuffle behind me, I've got my sword and my shield out, and I'm going to guide Navarro using just my knees. I whip her around, and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I'm going to dismount there.
So, would you say you whip your mare
Back and forth. I just back, not forth yet.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That happened.
Okay. Navarro's going to continue her movement and then take the dodge action. I'm going to do a diving dismount. And I've got my sword in both hands. I'm bringing it down on the spider. But as I'm in the air, my chest, that same flash of light happens, and this time it's directed at the spider, and I need to make a Constitution save.
Wonderful. 12.
Okay. 1 moment, please. I've never done this before.
Calculating.
What is my?
Processing your request.
Barbarians don't do math.
Doesn't say what my. Hang on. Where's my save? Where would this even be? Because it's not a spell.
Features.
Yeah.
I believe
Wild
for you
surge.
that should be 8 plus proficiency plus your Constitution modifier.
8,
Probably.
10, 13 is the save then, if that's the calculation. Yes, that you're correct. I just found it. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so he takes 1 point of radiant damage because I rolled crap on my d6, but he's also blinded.
Okay.
See, Patrick, this is why it's important to know rules.
And then I'm going to take my barbarian attack, and I'm going to attack recklessly.
All right. Let's do it.
Not gonna lie, it made me sad that that was my top stat.
Oh, that's solid. Okay. I rolled a 16 on the die plus 5, so 21.
You hit.
Cool. Longsword is a d8. Okay, dang, my damage dice is not great. So that's 5 plus my 2 rage bonus, so that's 7 damage.
All right. With 7 damage, the sword pierces through the carapace, and the spider goes limp.
Nice.
Sabu, are you okay?
Not really, but I'm alive.
There was
That wasn't
another
too
one.
bad.
Yeah, and then you hear Kai say, "There was another one,"
Okay.
and it is Reese's turn.
No, it is not.
Nope.
Oh, sorry.
Nope.
It's not my turn.
It is no longer Kai's turn.
God, I was so glad whenever they added this initiative tracker.
I knew it.
Knew it.
Flash of light.
Beautiful.
And the
Surprise,
spider
spider!
that was still following Reese is still following Reese.
It worked.
Rolls a 17 to hit. I assume that will hit you.
Just meets it.
Get out of here. What is your AC, like an 11? A 12?
It's 12.
He is the broadside of a barn.
Pretty close. It was 11 for a while. Good thing I ate my Scooby snack.
Yeah, those 2 hit points are really gonna matter.
Honestly,
Listen.
wait,
They
Reese,
make a
are you
difference.
sorcerer or
Every
a wizard?
little bit helps.
I'm a warlock.
Yeah, for a warlock, absolutely, that's gonna help.
All right, Mr. Warlock. 10 points of damage, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Son of a. That is a lot of damage.
Oh no.
What saving throw?
Sailor feels you.
Oh no, it's a natural 1.
Oh no. Do you have inspiration?
No, I used it to survive.
Oh, you used it for your vibe check!
There's no way. There's no way you're
Worth
not,
it.
There's no way you're not going down. There's no way. This is gonna be so much damage. Unless
It might
this
just
is
be
a garbage
It might just be
roll.
the poisoned effect, it's fine.
It's okay.
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 So the spider latches onto your arm, and you feel its venom sink into you, and you feel this pulse throughout your entire body as you take. I rolled really well. I'm sorry. You take
course.
21 points. of
21.
poison damage.
Holy shit.
Okay. The little death saves thing popped up.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And are paralyzed
Okay.
because it reduced you to 0.
Oh god.
You about to be a
Don't
Juby
know.
snack.
Mhm. Hey, fun fact though, the Juby snack kept me from instantly dying.
Yeah, it did.
Holy shit, it did.
Yeah, for now, we will.
Turn.
If you die, I will name them after you. They will no longer be Juby snacks. They will be Reese's Pieces.
or Reese cakes, which are not as delicious.
I like
Alright,
Reese's Pieces.
Zaylu, you're up.
Wait, do I not get a turn at all?
Oh no.
Yeah, go ahead and make your death save.
Oh, yeah.
Roll 1 die. That's what you get to do.
Oh, at 19.
Okay.
That is 1 success, sir.
Can Lux continue to do things?
Yes, Lux gets her turn. I apologize. It skipped you.
Oh, she is gonna charge this
Yeah.
mother fletcher.
Good luck. Go do a medicine check and start taking her paws.
Just popping.
Just
Trying to get
defibrillator. She
The
just
boops are powerful.
I clicked the button and nothing happened. There it goes. 21 to hit,
21 definitely hits.
5 piercing, and then 9 radiant.
Dude, that thing's dead.
How would Lux
Oh.
like to do this?
So Reese is paralyzed, staring up at this thing, and then behind you just see the little Arctic fox bloop up into the air, and then come down like a little pounce right onto its back, and then just
So
explodes.
fierce.
Joke's on you all. I became a
Familiar.
Pokemon trainer.
Oh yikes.
Whew.
What do I have? Do I have a thing? I have several things. Okay.
All right.
Well, he's not dead. He's just making death saves.
Not that dead.
The last spider falls, Zaylu, it is your turn. We're going to stay in initiative order just because of death saves.
Sure. So Sailor is going to move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and getting to the end of as far as they can move, seeing Reese like on the ground as Lux like flashbangs this thing. The like intensity of the moment draws the winds to my back, almost like circling out of the area where they've been produced from Vizyla to my back, as there is a rush of that, and then I find myself 30 feet closer, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 to Reese, and like as I land, the drawing a health potion from my pack and pouring it down his gullet.
Okay, so we are using an action.
That is my entire turn. Movement, action, bonus action, all of it to get to
Awesome.
him and pour a healing potion down.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for the healing potion for me.
2d4 plus 2. That's a total of 6.
Okay.
2s across the board.
Reese, your eyes were opened because you were paralyzed.
Of course.
Consciousness comes to you, but you are still paralyzed.
Word. Just try to scream. Nothing happened.
Yeah,
Reese?
internal
Reese?
screaming.
Reese?
Internally screaming.
And I look for the bite marks. And
You can
like,
see my eyes.
Start like checking him over.
The Reese is breathing now, but unresponsive otherwise.
Lux has just jumped up on top of Reese and sitting on his chest. Defensively. Maybe he gives a little boop.
Kai's
I-
practically.
So can I do a medicine check to see if I understand? I mean, I know spiders. I understand creatures that have toxins and things along those lines. So like,
Roll either medicine or nature, your call.
A venom.
will definitely be a nature check.
So this is where Reese turns into Spider-Man.
Finally.
It's a total of 17 on a nature check.
Your time throughout the woods, especially in the wilds on your own, you got bit a few times by various spiders. You know that if their poisons don't kill you, they will fade in time.
I kind of look down at Lux. I think he'll be okay. He just needs some time.
All of her hair is like standing up.
I will lift Reese up, kind of like forming a cradle on my knees to like raise him up so that he's not laying flat on the ground.
Is he like paralyzed like rigor mortis, or can we actually move him and he just stays in place? Because that could be funny.
Like a posable action figure.
No, he is unable to move himself.
Make him pick his nose.
I will lift him and I will like usher Lux like onto him and kind of like try and pet and calm Lux a little bit. I think he'll be okay. He should be okay.
The humming and singing and swaying of Vizyla has continued unabated through all of this.
Juve, out of breath from running and killing a spider. Well, I guess I still need to stay beside Reese during combat. But Kai, while they tend to him, more may show up.
Yeah, Kai is already like kind of like frantically looking around, watching for more. But after a few seconds, the light in his eyes and the light from his chest kind of fade as his rage subsides.
I will take up a position near them, but on this side.
Mist running over and seeing that he cannot do anything to help his medicine is not his deal. And seeing Selu kind of taking care of Reese to the best of their abilities, we'll start investigating the spider corpse, going back to something he does know, and trying to drain or milk poison from it, similar to what he did in the creature underground.
Okay. Roll. Are you proficient with alchemy or herbalist?
Nope. Cartographer's tools and thieves' tools.
Okay. Roll a straight intelligence check.
Yep. 12.
Okay. These spiders are very peculiar. Their anatomy, as you like cut in looking for a gland, the gland is almost like incorporeal. Their anatomy is peculiar, and you're kind of unable to suss out the why and extract anything.
While
You all would see Mist with a much less nice dagger just carving into this thing's face.
probably a good decision. While you guys are dealing with that, Kai walks over to Navarra and he's like, "You've definitely been holding out on me," and then he remounts her.
Okay. An hour of patience and waiting passes, and Reese regains his...
Holy smoke.
Hour. Oh.
Oh. I scream as soon as I come. What in the world?
Take it easy. Might be.
I saw them.
You might.
They came from over there where the columns are.
It's
They were popping in and out.
It's been about an hour, and if any more were going to come, it probably would have happened by now.
Also, you see Kai like up above Selu on his horse.
Wait, what? What happened in an hour?
Looking up at Navarra. Well, a lot really fast, and then a whole lot of nothing for most of that hour.
Well,
I
feel better now.
Do you
Well,
think you can stand?
that's a lie. I feel yes. I can stand.
Lux has been worried sick.
She's like doing the little circles around his leg.
Your fox exploded.
What? That is one way to put it. Yeah, the spider was there, and then Lux was there, and then the spider was not.
Lux saved you, undoubtedly.
I probably pick her up, hold her. You're staying with me? We're gonna stay together.
I don't think you have any choice in the matter.
Reese,
I think she's happy about it. Yes.
roll a d10 for me.
No. I will pass. No, 3.
Okay. As they are speaking, Jubei, the ground underneath your feet is getting very warm.
Anybody else feel that?
Feel what?
Feel like death.
I look down and kind of dig my sandal into the dirt. The ground's getting hotter.
Is Navarra acting differently at all, or reacting to it?
Nope. Nobody else seems to be experiencing anything.
Nadara seems to be fine.
Lean down, and is the ground like sand-covered rock, or is it dirt?
It is stone. It is old, broken stone and earth.
Move the dirt away and fill the rock itself.
And as you do, you press on the rock, and the rock almost collapses like wet concrete as it starts to fall in to a hole.
Oh no.
And you see a glowing red spot in the center.
Back away.
Okay.
Right now. I'm saying that out loud to everyone.
Selu helps Reese to his feet and moves this direction.
Up the steps. Back that
Navara
way.
is a very well-built girl, but she might be too heavy for this. You need to get her out of here.
I was gonna go up the steps, actually.
Selu would pull you this direction, I think.
Okay.
They're worried about interfering with anything. Like before, like whenever they were glancing up there,
right.
Like they don't want to set foot somewhere that they don't understand or cause a problem. So
I step this way with Mistlethar, keeping an eye on that spot.
So, alternatively, Kai sees Vizyla like open now and doesn't know anything about magic, and so he's going to go up there.
No, wait! I don't know what.
Love it.
I'm just standing at the top of the stairs there.
However, you all do see this hole start to cave in, and almost like a burrowing badger, like molten rock and small bits of magma come off as breaching the ground where Jubei was standing is something two of you have seen before.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Damn it, I knew this was going to happen. Okay.
A lava worm, a mineral worm, reaches the earth, coming up, drawn to this place of power. And I need everybody to roll initiative once more.
Oh,
so the ground doesn't look like
God.
it's collapsing.
Correct.
It was just this thing coming out of it. Okay, just making sure.
Oh, that's much better this time.
Same.
I feel like Mist was already playing the floor is lava as soon as Jubei pointed out that there was a spot on the floor, and he's just like, yeah, the floor is lava. Great. Sweet.
That makes sense.
It's okay. Jubei rolled a 4.
We swapped.
There we go. Gabe, is it okay that I say that I've retrieved my spear in the last hour?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Is it alright to say that he retrieved my bow for me? Because I was definitely with Reese the entire time. But,
God.
Hoi!
All
Blinking spiders, now fireworms?
What do we do to deserve this?
He's telling me that this is a distant cousin or something, Jubei.
I look at Mithelthar offended. I look like this? To you?
No. You are much prettier.
Like I said, I am handsome somewhere.
Okay, Jubei, your initiative, please.
4.
Okay, 4, there it is. It didn't come, none of it came through for some reason. Mistlethar.
12 again.
Alright. Selu. Seeing the worm breach, this magma serpent, very familiar for you. Seeing it breach, immediately spurring into action, what do you do?
Having been dragging Reese this direction, I will step between him and that draw bow and let loose. That is a 17 on the die. So,
Definitely.
22 total, and I will once again mark favored foe and make this a dreadful strike. So, that's actually going to come out to be about the same. Again, 10 points of, wait, no, what is it? Yeah, 10 points of piercing damage, and as the winds gather around once more, 1 point of psychic damage.
Okay.
And
As the arrow strikes its hot, almost inflamed side, chunks of molten rock and stone from the surrounding area fall off.
That is it for me. I hit intern, but it is spinning a little bit, so...
Kai.
Okay, so I'm going to. Okay. I
I
also.
think that's on Astral's end.
Yeah, I'm having. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's happening. Okay. 5, 10, 15. I get there. I'm going to rage on my way. So, for the second time today, let's see what happens.
Rage on your way.
And I rolled a 2.
Making my
What is
way.
a 2? Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is Navara. This is you see a tattoo of, or a constellation in the shape of a stallion light up with a rider, and I can teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space I can see. So
that is so
I'm
cool.
on Navara. You guys see me riding in on Navara, and then suddenly I'm next to the next to the snake, and striking it like just instantaneously. And you guys are like, "What?" Looking back and forth between me and the horse. So mechanically, I'm gonna have Navara move back up to the top of the steps and take the dodge action.
Sure.
And verbally, I want to, as I'm riding up, I want to tell her to basically protect Vizyla, but to not move from that area. And now I'm going to make my attacks. Am I gonna make it recklessly?
I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna reckless attack.
What else is there as a barbarian?
Okay, so 23.
Okay.
Nice.
20.
The longsword. There we go. It's a little better. That is 9 plus my rage is 11 damage.
Nice.
Okay. Got it.
That was action, bonus action, movement. Oh, also, I can teleport 30 feet every turn as a bonus action, which is
It's
insane.
basically like on rage far step. Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty
Only
dang sweet.
when I roll a 2, though.
Right. No, it was random, but like when you get it, whew.
Awesome. Reese, you're up.
For the help action, do you have to be within range of the enemy or the ally?
Depends on what you're trying to do.
I want Lux to run up and give the help action to Kai.
I think he would.
To
That's a good question.
to help with the next attack on an enemy, you have to be within 5 feet of the enemy.
Yeah, I think you're like harrying the enemy.
Boo. Then he's gonna move up here, or she's gonna move up there and take the dodge action.
Okay.
I am going to duck behind the pillar, and because I am exhausted and sick of this, I am going to summon light in my hand and pull it down real quick, and a beam of light shoots through the roof of the cave. They need to make
Sick of
a
these.
dexterity. Sick of these motherfucking snakes.
In this motherfucking cave.
Yep. There's my F-bomb for the night.
Hey. They rolled a 1.
Awesome.
Oh,
Nice.
I got a full roll. That's 8 radiant damage.
nice. What is this? What is this again?
Sacred Flame.
Nice.
Very nice.
And then, as my bonus action, I'm going to release a bunch of fireflies, and they're going to heal Thelu in front of me.
Okay.
Wow, that was great. Sailor, you get 10 health back.
Holy cow! Nice.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
And then that's the end of my turn.
Those fireflies really like you.
Dang.
Yeah, man. All right, Mistlethar, you're up.
Feeling that moon power.
Moon.
Right. So Mistlethar being upset about Reese dying and then having to fight more and just not wanting to be
He's
a
not
part of this. Mist sees Kai run up and is like, "Yeah, that's the one. This thing needs to be fighting." So he's going to run up here with his dagger, and as an action, he's going to cast. He's going to make him stay here and cast Booming Blade on his dagger and try to stab it into this thing as gravitational potential energy from the moon tries to wrap around it.
Nice. That's a
I
cool
love it.
skin for that.
So
And I'm going to use my inspiration point.
Okay.
I never thought about trying to do that.
Much
with,
better.
like, Booming Blade as almost like a Dunamantic type approach instead of thunder. It's kind of cool.
So I'm trying to cast it on myself. I make a melee attack. That's 17 plus 5.
You hit.
Okay. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon's attack's normal effects and then becomes teeth and booming energy for the start of my next turn. If it willingly moves 5 feet or more before the start of my next turn, it takes 1d8 thunder damage.
Correct.
So it being a melee attack, does sneak attack still happen, or is it just the DD4?
I think it should.
It will because Kai is within melee.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I wasn't sure since the action itself is the spell. I didn't know if that triggered it.
You
so.
still make an attack.
Yeah,
So-
you're good.
Okay. 9, 10, 11
Okay.
points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And then bonus action, disengage, and 10 feet back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Smart.
Rogues doing rogue stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. At the end of your turn, it is its turn. As the remainder of this snake emerges and you realize it's full size, Kai, you have seen this happen before, but Jubei and Mistlethar being the closest, you watch in utter disbelief and horror as its head divides into
Its head what?
divides
Uh-huh.
into
Okay.
separate heads of magma and stone, and they lash out at Kai and Lux.
This is what we were dealing with on Session 0. You guys had some dogs.
You
We
guys
had
dealt with dogs.
snake thing.
We fought this.
For the record, this seems to be more hardy than the one. we
Yeah,
fought.
kind of
Yeah,
figured.
I was gonna ask as
You
far
are-
as size
Kinda
goes,
figured.
Does this thing look bigger?
Okay, Kai, it definitely whiffs against you.
Are you sure? It gets advantage.
They get-
Don't forget it gets advantage.
Oh, right.
And they get disadvantage on luck.
Still whiffs. Cool.
And the other head. Roll.
If possible, if it's going for Lux, I will interpose myself with my shield.
I'm gonna say no because there are feats for that, and party members have those feats.
That's fine. No worries.
Um,
Thematically, I try to.
sure. 12 to hit Lux.
Miss.
Okay, as the second head
Nice.
lashes out, Lux just dodges out of the way. And
Hides
then-
behind your shield.
And
Yeah, hides behind.
Jubei, you're up.
She's no dummy.
Okay, so I'm going to, first off, seeing the heat come off this thing, I'm going to channel my ancestral bloodline of being being a red dragon, and I'm going to use chromatic warding since I'm now 3rd level as an action, and I am immune to fire damage for 10 minutes.
What?
Nice.
So you actually see like heat start pouring off of Jubei's skin, and
That's
like
awesome.
it was misty in this room, and like the mist is starting to turn to steam as he channels his inner flames inside of him, and actually you'll see glowing between his scales.
Nice.
So that's my action. I will step forward in front of Mistlethar over here, and I will, for the first time, action surge.
Oh,
Do it.
Wait.
Are you gonna do the full thing?
No, I'm not using my family's technique yet.
Okay.
Saving it. So I will action surge, and I will take a swipe with my katana at this. I am going to use my inspiration point on that.
Okay.
Let me.
We are burning inspiration this time.
We need to.
Yep.
We've been sitting on them too long. And that is a natural 20.
Oh,
Nice. That's the second time that's happened.
heck yeah.
All
Just-
that beautiful damage footage, my
This-
friend.
this 100% classifies as Jubei cooks.
Yes.
So that is 2-8. So that's 18 points of damage.
Okay.
Nice.
Boy, the thing.
This looks like Jubei. As
Oh.
your foes fall before you.
Jubei runs forward with the flames and the heat and the cracking of the red between his skin, and he just hasn't drawn his katana yet. He draws it underhanded from its sheath and just slices it up. As its head divided, slices it right between it and just let the lava fall off his skin and slough off.
Yes.
Additionally, Jubei, roll a d100 for me.
Oh no.
Ruh-roh.
Let's use the 2 lucky Cthulhu dice that do that. That is a 98.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow.
Holy smoke.
You broke the GM.
Roll one more d%.
That's a 36.
Okay. As the blade passes through, and you stand there, lava trailing down your arm, there's this feeling of strength, of surety, and the sword given to you by your family seems to shine in the red light, and the ripples down it, the folds and the 1,000 folds of steel seem to in your eye almost pop out every single individual one as the lava fades down and off of it.
That's a nice sword.
And then the adrenaline fades. The blood coursing in your ears slows down. And quiet once again settles over the hall.
Just
I'm
look at
gonna
my
slump to the
for a
floor.
second. And just look at my sword for a second and just whatever blood it's lava or whatever's left on the blade and sheath it.
So Kai sees this lava on Jubei and is concerned. And since I'm still raging, I instinctively blink over to you, and I picture when I disappear, it leaves behind like a constellation of Kai, basically, just for a moment, and then it fades, and then I
That's
appear,
so
and then I'm like,
I just since I'm still immune because that only took like 6 seconds, I'm just sloughing the lava off with my bare hand.
But
And
after a
then-
moment, when I realize it's not burning you, I'm like, is that supposed to happen?
We Redskin Dragonborn have we have few talents that come with blood
I see.
and an affinity for our ancestors and our lineage. There's a reason working in a kitchen does not bother me.
And now seeing Jubei is no longer in danger, the constellation fades and goes back to its normal black dots on his skin.
I was hoping not to see one of those again for a while.
What does this thing look like as it's dying and cooling? Just like lava flaking?
Lava and stone, and it begins hardening as magma does when it cools and chipping away. And you don't see anatomy, you see lava and magma.
Mist looks around just long enough to see that everybody's alive and goes back to hiding in the corner.
That's fair.
Jubei, if the fire is not bothering you right now, they feed on precious stones. It would be worth checking.
I don't have long. Does anyone have a dagger that they don't mind ruined?
And from out of the shadows behind you, a dagger clangs to your feet.
Does anyone?
Ding, ding,
Oh, Jubei looks up. Does anyone have a pile of gold they're not using?
Sailor throws their money pouch.
Accurate.
Accurate.
Working expediently because I will only have a few minutes. Well, I mean, it lasts for 10 minutes, so I probably have 9 minutes left. Cut into this thing as much as I can with cooling lava with a dagger and try to find anything like so. With Sulu guiding me.
So, as you claw into it, you don't even need the dagger. The rock, as it cools, kind of clumps up and falls apart. You, again, don't find any discernible anatomy in this thing. Its entire form is mineral in one way, shape, or form. But go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
Jubei can do this because he's 10% Dolomite. The future.
Well, you did. Sailor did bring it up, and you did say you were gonna get Salu's help. So go ahead and roll with advantage.
I'm sure Sailor's
Nice.
behind me. No, over here. No. Oh, good thing, because that was a 10 and a 16, so that's 17.
Nice.
15. Okay.
When Kai and I found what we found before, it was over that way.
You find breaking apart the rocks. You find several gleaming, sparkling stones within.
Working quickly, I'm just tossing them over my shoulder as I'm finding.
Okay. I need 2 more D% from you.
2 more 10.
Or
What?
D10s, but separate. Sorry.
That's a 7. That's a 6.
Okay.
Nice.
So you find in total 6 gems with the varying sizes and shapes of emerald, and there's even a oh man, it's been a long day. There's onyx in there, and several hard uncut diamonds.
Diamonds, onyx, and what else?
And
Emerald.
emerald.
Yeah.
So the emerald, the onyx, and the rest are all diamonds.
So times 1, times 1.
Reese, I felt that. Thank you. I wish there was something I could do in return.
He's like wrapping a bandage around his arm.
Here, at least let me help with that much. And, well, knowing how to wrap a bandage will help do so.
I use one of my healer kits.
So yet
Heal
again,
myself.
after combat, look up at Vizyla. How is Vizyla doing?
Vizyla is still at it, but slumping.
Kai, during this, kind of sits himself on the stairs and is just kind of like sitting there, looking down at his hands and his like the constellations on his chest, and not really saying anything.
Then I suggest, and you guys notice, a lot of what Jubei says is comes with a hit of whimsy. Like everything since you've met him, he's never been serious. Jubei adopts a very serious, gruff tone. I suggest we rest. This will be a trial by endurance, not skill.
Reese stands up, shaking off the venom, and goes over and sits on the steps near Navarra. I think it's a pretty good idea, actually. I'm not sure how much longer it'll take.
I'm fine to stand guard. Those that have been felled, rest. Gain your composure. We do not know what comes next.
I'll walk over and have a seat next to Kai and catch my breath.
Okay.
I've not seen you do any of that.
Neither have I. My eyes are like very wide, like kind of in awe or shock, rather.
I don't even know how to compare it exactly, but you moved almost like I do sometimes along the winds, but different.
He used magic.
But I don't know magic.
I used to tell Reese the same thing.
Perhaps it's not you, but something else.
Convinced me otherwise.
Sorry, Patrick, I didn't catch that.
You said before that these stars were what you felt a connection to. Perhaps that's where the magic comes from.
The ancestors of my people live in the stars.
Then there's a good chance that perhaps they're helping you out.
Yes, you mentioned manifesting your powers. Apparently you manifest them through whatever those are. And I pointed all your tats.
These are just
sick tats.
These are just tattoos. Many of my people have these.
As you are talking, you begin to see the mist coalesces into a spectral waving figure as a ghost emerges from the wall. Instead of going back into combat, I need a total of 8 either hit die or ability points or spell slots spent. So if you'd like to spend a second level spell slot, that will be 2 ticks, basically. If you'd like to roll 1 hit die of damage against yourself, that will be 1 tick, etc.
Reese would like to rage and fire both of his second level spells.
Okay, so that's 4.
I'll narrate it in a second.
Sure.
So we need. You said we need 8 total.
8 total. So we're halfway there.
Selu will give at least 1. I think. Let's see.
I have not taken any damage yet, so I would like to do at least 1.
Jubei will take 2 hit die worth of damage.
Okay, so that's everybody. That's 8 right there.
Yeah.
I have to.
Mist cowers in the corner then.
Okay, cool. I rolled a 2 on my d12. That's good.
Okay.
So Reese was like literally in the middle of like taking off his cloak and like set his staff down, and like Lux is like already burrowing in the cloak like to snuggle, and he sees this ghost pop out. He's like, "Oh no, we're not doing this again!" And he stands up, and like for the first time, you all see him like not shrouded in his clothing, and like I'm gonna imagine it like Uncle Iroh and Avatar. He channels the light down with 2 fingers
Nice.
and points it, and I cast Guiding Bolt twice, so it just channels through him like twice
Very cool.
and just blasts forward.
And Kai and Jubei, how do we?
So I was picturing like I throw my spear and it like embeds itself into the wall like just through the ghost. It doesn't even do anything, and the ghost comes up and swipes at me. So my attacks don't do anything. It's just it focuses on me.
Sure.
That's
And
adorable.
Jubei.
I'm going to say that feeding into the idea that not all HP is wounds, I just completely exert myself and take 2 hit die worth of exhaustion, just getting rid of this ghost through several different moves.
So
Say
did,
that one.
did
Did I miss
all
that?
3 of you all do 2?
I did 1. So I was gonna say Seilu did
Okay.
1 as well.
Yeah.
We missed
So, thematically speaking, this kind of goes outside of how the spell would necessarily be, but like Jubei, as you are moving and exerting, you feel the winds at your back almost guiding your blade. Not necessarily guiding it, but like moving it faster. As thematically speaking, Zephyr Strike incorporates itself into the mix.
Nice.
like that.
As soon as the ghost combat is over, Jubei realizes that this is coming pretty quickly, so he will. You see him as soon as the combat's over. He takes the katana and sticks it in the dirt between some rocks and walks over to where the statue is by mist. He pulls off the katana sheath and lays it at the base of the statue and pulls both arms into his armor and works his kimono free, pulling it out of the bottom of his armor. And for the first time, you see him in just the armor, where the chainmail is hidden by the kimono, and the chainmail actually comes down to his knees, Mongolian style, and he's actually sleeveless, like the end of Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
And he just binds his kimono and lays it on top of his sheath and comes back and pulls the sword from the ground.
Nice.
I love this.
I retrieve
Jubei.
my spear.
The as the ghost is dispatched in those quick movements, you notice that your blade seems to be hurting the ghost more than you would have expected. And the strike into the ground, there's almost a crack that ripples
Nice.
away. That D100 you rolled for me earlier, your katana is now a +1 blade.
Oh,
Nice.
Holy shit!
I figured with what it was made out of, it was going to be like silvered or count as a silvered or something like that.
Mhm.
But cool. I will add that
Heck
to it.
yeah.
That's wild.
Growing.
In a world with limited magic, that is
Big deal.
not a small thing.
Dude, you rolled a
No.
I mean,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Also, that was like the first time that Jubei used like half of his abilities.
yeah. So as the evening wears on and wears on, you find one more encounter that you are able to work your way through with a combination of your abilities and exertions. And eventually the green light from behind you all fades. And Vizyla weakly rises and turns back. I think we're through. And then they sit down on one of the rocks. And that is where we will leave off for this evening.
Yeah.
Oof. Goodness gracious.
I like the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the goal.
man.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super good.
Brutal.
Not where I was expecting all of this to go. I didn't really know where it was going to go, but
Somehow we managed to really mess up the 2 squishies in the party, and the tanks took no damage.
Yeah.
No, I took 20. No, yeah, I took 10 points of damage.
But just from that last ghost thing, right? Not like actually during combat. Yeah, I took 2
No.
during
No combat.
the whole
I
time
took,
I was
like-
raging. I didn't take any damage.
I took like 40 damage.
I know.
to say, I didn't even go down, and I took as much damage as the two of you combined.
Oh,
Oh
man.
man! Everybody, roll
Wow.
d20 for me, and we'll get some accolades going.
Cool.
10.
4.
5.
17.
Oh man, there's so many little moments that I liked tonight.
Yeah, there were a bunch of
decisions, the decisions.
Patrick, did you say 5?
Yeah, 5.
Jacob.
12.
10.
And Sean.
17.
Nice. You want to lead us off, man?
I'd be happy to. I think my favorite interactions of the night, from a personal standpoint, were meeting Swiftmane and having that interaction as just an NPC, kind of another attachment NPC
Yes.
for Miss you grow attached to and then maybe never see again. So that was cool. But from another player perspective, I really liked Kai's interactions with Navarra. You've been holding back from me, and just the new things that we've seen out of Navarra, and the teamwork we've seen with Navarra. I think that relationship in itself, outside of the relationship dynamic of the party as a whole, that relationship just between Kai and Navarra is fantastic to watch.
Thanks, man.
Next up is Derek.
Man, there were so many good ones. I think I'm going to send mine back to Sean. Really enjoying how you're playing Mist as a rogue. Like, it's like you're doing everything as a rogue correctly, but you're also playing him like a total sissy, which is like Mist, you know? Like, I love the constantly hiding and you throwing your dagger out from behind from behind the statue, and
This is a
Jubei's
great
cutting
moment.
this snake open. That cracked me up, man. So love it. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Jacob.
I usually try not to double up on people, but I'm going to give mine to Derek tonight as well for entirely different reasons on top of everything that Sean mentioned. The new stuff that we saw from Kai tonight of his rages and those moments of how you interpreted those, the teleportation, the light, but then also Kai's reaction to not understanding that at the very end and not really getting what is going on, seeing him kind of try and grapple with that moment was really cool, on top of just cool effects of all of that, and fucking summoning Navarra out of nowhere. Come on, man. What?
I've been waiting to do that all game.
So much cool
that was my
stuff.
favorite.
So much cool stuff. Yeah, just
Yeah.
tons of cool stuff.
Thanks.
Patrick, you're up.
I want to give mine to Bill because we got to see Jubei the warrior tonight, and yes, he still cooked the thing, but he literally filleted it in one move, and I 100% saw it as that clean, smooth one motion. It was poetic warrior moment. I loved it. He's been so reserved that at this point was an explosion.
Agree completely on that one.
Yeah, very cool.
Bill.
I hate doubling up like Jacob said, but I gotta give it to Sean. Like, I really enjoyed the how Mistlethar is a rogue, and he does the roguish things of going in and out of combat, and the idea of instead of playing a sly, sneaky rogue, he's playing a cowardly rogue. Actually, like, really excites me in a lot of respects. So I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
love it.
Absolutely. So for me, going through the same order, Sean, everybody has hit on so many good things for you tonight, but I'm gonna circle back to the campfire scene and how you are expanding your understanding of your own abilities and using it in a very thematic and almost bard-like way as a rogue. It's been quite enjoyable to watch.
Honestly, a lot of times I thought he was a bard during the one shot. That's what I thought he was.
Derek, man, so many good things tonight. It is really hard to put a finger on one. Kai really shined through a lot. The like, I'm a warrior, I'm gonna defend people, like, and then the juxtaposition of being in the wrong place and yeah, shit, how do I fix this? And it was great, and the way you narrated your combat was beautiful. Jacob, the panic on your face when you went face to face with a phase spider, and then immediately redirected into like, no, this like deep into the role playing of taking care of other characters. It is always awesome to see a player and a character be able to redirect that quickly. And none of the role playing after that suffered at all from that "oh fuck" moment in combat. So major props as a player and the moments with the character.
Thanks.
Patrick, I'd love to say you going down was my favorite part.
No, it was good.
But you getting up, no, I'm, leaning into that. I shirk away from battle, but then the explosion at the end, like, no, was just golden. Bill, the other people have said it already, seeing the warrior come out. We got a little bit of Jubei cooks, which is wonderful. And I had to go eat a snack on break. But seeing the warrior side come out, that other side of your character is
the side that Jubei doesn't like,
Yes.
that he sees as a necessity.
It's been wonderful to see that part of your character come out, and I'm really excited to see how you and the party deal with that going forward. As for inspiration this evening, I'm gonna have to give it to Derek. You look like you were gonna say something. I'm sorry.
I still have my inspiration. I'll pass it on to Sean.
Sounds good.
I was about to say, it's the Conan picture. That's where he's got to give you the inspiration.
It was the narration of the abilities you haven't used before, and the struggle with those after the fact.
I finally got to rage like a couple times and see different effects. It was super fun for me too. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoy the game, and look forward to seeing where Vizyla guides you on the way out of the woods and on your way to Lost Throne. So,
Yeah.
Super
cool.
Yeah.
Do we know this is only first half of the ritual. The next half, she has to sacrifice us.
yeah, no, just Reese.
Yeah.
Just Lux.
And then,
Oh,
Reese is fine. Don't touch Lux.
Lux is the new mascot. So, viewers, thank you so much for hanging with us. Those of you who have or catching this after the fact on BOD, We will be back in 2 weeks with Thrayne, but next week at the same time block, we will have an episode of Shooting the Crit, our talk show, where there's a poll out right now for the topic. So head over to our Twitter and check that out and get your voice and vote heard. And tune in Saturday morning for Breakfast and Dragons, where we figure out what the hell is in this tomb that's going to murder us all.
Yeah.
Yay, murdered him.
And if you don't catch us Saturday morning, Gabe and I will be on one of these streams for Dungeon Con with the guys from Astral Table. So that information will be out on our Twitter in the near future as soon as we have the specifics. So check it out there, and we'll let you know when we're going to be around.
And as you go through the week, remember, kindness is a free action, y'all.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.